Hello, good evening. Let me get oriented here with the windows and everything. How's everybody doing? Long time no see or hear. I've been working on the video for like the deep dive audio appointment thing, and there's so much data and tests and everything, and it's ridiculous. It's really getting out of hand with how much stuff I'm putting in there. So finally got that script finalized, like right before this, like today, this evening, and it's been taking a long time. I think this is the longest it's ever taken me to do a script for a video, and I've made it unreasonably complicated for myself. All right, let me get oriented before I start the blabbing and whatnot. Put this over here. Oh, I need this. And this. And I also need that. Okay. That's stuck. Why is it stuck? That looks weird. Let me get my chat in here so I can see it. Alright. I still gotta do the links and everything. I know I started a bit late today, so I apologize to anyone who might be already sleeping. I'll do another one. Probably like starting next week. I should be able to do a little, like an hour earlier or so. It's just been a long day today, so I couldn't get in earlier. And I should be able to do a few more live streams again now that the whole like deep dive audio thing is nearing its completion soon. I still have to, record it and edit it and everything, but I feel like compared to how much time it's taken to do all the research for it, that's gonna be like no time at all. Should still be a few days at least, but I don't know. It's been completely out of hand. I need to not take it so seriously, maybe. It's taken so much of my time. It's been crazy. But yeah, so as I was working on the script today for the Kirk thing, the one that I'm working on for the like investigation deeper dive video thing, that one. So as I was sort of working on the script, I was also playing YouTube in the background. I was like sitting on my couch with my bird. My bird was eating his lunch or whatever, and I'm just like sitting there working on it. And I hear this in the background, and I had random stuff on the TV, and I hear somebody like completely crashing out in the background, and I was like, huh? So I was looking up for my script editing situation, and I was like, wow. So that's gonna be the second thing we go over. But let me do the links first because I forget the links. You know how I'm gonna forget the links if I don't do them now. But good evening, re-examination. Nice to see you. And Monday evening, welcome back. Have you been? You've been well. I hope you have been well. This stream's topic seem interesting. I hope so. I thought the article situation. So the article situation. While I do the links, I'll try to multitask. This usually doesn't go well, but I'll try. The article situation. Was it yesterday or I think it was like yesterday or something when this article situation came out. Was it yesterday? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I saw Candace had replied, like sort of quote replied to the article ad they had on Twitter/X. Can we just call it Twitter again? This whole X thing is weird. It's uncomfortable to say a single letter like that, and it's like, can we just collectively start calling it Twitter again? That would be nice. That would help me out a lot. Anyway, I saw that she had replied to it, and I didn't know what the article was about at first. I only saw her reply because, well, they paywalled it. So I had to go and open it up properly and everything and read it. Well, I haven't read it fully for myself yet. I've skimmed a few portions so we can read it together later. But yeah. So I'm gonna spoil it for you. We don't get the video. That appointment video, we don't get it. It looks like you're gonna get it, but you're not gonna get it. And I'll show you the what you call it, the way that it looks later too. It's so ugh. Actually, let me pull it up over here so I have it for later. Oh no, I do already have it. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, I have everything lined up. I guess we can. Yeah, I gotta do the links because I haven't done it yet again. Oh no, this is out of order. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me do the links. But yes, so it kind of looks like you're gonna get the video, and they have it all like, oh, Bombshell, secret video, but they don't say that it's only about the video, not like you get the actual video. So they claim to have seen it, whatever it is. I obviously don't believe them. I mean, I don't believe that this person has seen something that's like true and real. If this person did really see something, I don't think that it was real, and I'm not even 100% sure this person did indeed see anything. So I don't know one way or another. I haven't like looked into this person deep dive yet. I haven't done any of that. I've been busy with other stuff, but so as far as the video that I've been working on, I do have a portion in it where I'm gonna have to mention the article and a few points about it. But I figured since the video is mostly not about the article, we could discuss it tonight and we can just sort of read it together and have fun with it and not like scripted or anything, just sort of read it as is. And again, I read a few excerpts and I keep getting distracted. I gotta do the links. I'm doing the links. I gotta do them. Okay, I'm doing them. And anyway, I read a few portions of it, and the parts that I read, I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know. It's just if they came out and they were like, okay, here's the video, we like blurred out the other people in it that aren't Charlie, but like here it is raw, I would be like, okay, I mean, maybe there's something to it. Obviously, I would run it through all the detection tools. I would be looking at it with a microscope, because the thing is just like obviously not real. Um, you really just have to listen to it. Just. I'm justing all over the place, but even when he says that portion where he's like, oh, I appoint my wife to whatever, my wife to take over the turning point, blah blah blah, and then he's like the next, like right, the way that sentence starts, it starts so fast after the last one ends that there's no way he said that as like a raw untouched thing. One thing that might be believable is they somehow like took some real audio which does not conform to reality, because like that's just not who he was as far as he told us, unless he was literally lying to us the whole time, like to the public, about his beliefs on what a woman's role is and what women should and shouldn't be doing. Unless he was lying about all of that, this thing of him appointing his wife is completely not believable. So if we go ahead and we sort of accept that he was lying the whole time that he was in public and he was talking about his beliefs, he was a big dirty ass liar. And if we go with that, and they really do have some video out there with him appointing his wife to, you know, take over his company as a boss babe CEO, basically abandoning his children to fend for themselves or whatever. If that is the case, they would have still had to have edited it by taking out like the spaces in between the sounds. And like I do that for my videos that I put out that are not live streams, obviously, because I can't do that. But the videos that I put out separately, like the research ones, I know nobody wants to hear my like and pauses and all that. So I take that stuff out the best I can. Because I find that so annoying that I do that. But I can't help it, so I try to fix it in post. Oh, that sounds so cool. Fix it in post. I'm like an editor. Who am I kidding? Anyway, I have to do the links. I'm still not doing the links. Why am I not doing the links? I don't understand why it's not happening. I intend to do the thing, and the thing is not being done. And I don't know why the thing isn't being done, because I'm the one that should be doing the thing. And the thing is still not being done. Anyway. Does it go here? Yeah, I think it goes here. I'm almost done. I think, yep. Getting close. Getting close. I do wonder what happened to Radical Coder. Every time I go and like through all the channels and to post the link, I'm like, I wonder what happened to him. It's weird for people to just disappear like that. Very strange. Don't see that a lot. Especially when somebody's been working like really into the YouTube channel and posting a lot like every day. People don't usually like vanish and not even say anything or whatever. That doesn't usually happen just at the point when they were starting to get monetized and everything. Usually if somebody's gonna vanish, it would be like a smaller thing that maybe they just started or that posted once in a while and then they sort of stopped doing it. But I don't know, he seemed like he was really trying to make it like his job or something like that. Anyway. Okay, I'm getting really distracted now doing this, so I think this is gonna have to be it. Maybe I'll do just the one here. Okay. Okay, that should be it. It's gonna have to be good enough because I'm getting too distracted to do it. All right, so the article. There was the article. But first, let me show you, let me get this pulled up. I want to show you how the article looked on Twitter first, because that's like half the story. It's so cringe. I really want to go back to Twitter. I do too. Dead name X. Yeah, I hope he's okay as well. The Twitter thing, like, I don't know. I feel like so many people still say Twitter that it's, I don't know if it's ever gonna go away. If the new name was somehow more catchy or easier to say, I think it would have caught on already and people would have not said Twitter as often. But X is so uncomfortable and weird to say, and it doesn't even, I don't know. Anyway, not important. Speaking of Twitter, we shall go in Twitter, and when we go in the Twitter, I shall show you this thing on the Twitter. Let me pull up the Twitter. The Twitter shall be pulled up. Oh, is it? Yeah, is this one? No, why isn't it doing it? Oh, it's not that. Yep, okay, it's, there we go. Gotta make it bigger. I'm gonna make it bigger. Okay, not that big. That is very large. Okay, I think you should be able to see that. Let me shrink it a little bit, so we don't need that, all that weird sidebar stuff. Don't need this. Don't, oh, weird, okay. And that should be alright, I think. Okay. So this is This is what I thought. Oh, let me move my 1 second. I gotta fix this before. There we go. Put myself on the side there. Okay. So, this is what I saw on the Twitter. And so you see how it looks like. This looks like a phone video of Charlie Kirk. And they are talking in the headline, Bombshell secret video of Charlie Kirk naming his true turning point successor days before assassination. Was it really days? I don't remember what the date on that was. I thought it was weeks. Wasn't it weeks? I'm confused. Let me double check. I don't know if this is important, but like a days seems inaccurate to me. I thought that video was like a few weeks before, like 3 or something. I don't know off the top of my head because I've been so into the other parts of the research that I haven't kept this at the top of mind. Let me check real quick. Yeah, because I don't know if the days is accurate. Anyway, the rest of it it's got this like, this looks like a phone video. So you're expecting a video shot on a phone or something like that of him saying, "Oh, I appoint Erika Kirk to be the CEO and chair, by the way," which he even wasn't himself. He's somehow also going to appoint her as chair for whatever reason. He's going to give her more power than he ever had for whatever reason. And it's like, oh, exclusive secret video of Charlie Kirk naming his true turning point successor. And it looks like you're going to get the video. This is such a dirty thing to do. If they're going to come out and do this and put it behind a paywall and make it look like everything about this reads, we have the video, we got the secret video, we have it, here it is, you can watch it if you just pay for this article. That's not it. They don't got it. They don't got nothing. They got a big fat nothing is what they got. So this is so gross. And it's good that there's the context that was added at the bottom. I'm glad that they put this there because some people might not realize that there's nothing to it and might want to see the video that it looks like they're promising you. Anyway, this is so dirty. But we'll look at the actual article in a minute. So apparently the donor event was in August. Yeah, I thought it was 3 weeks. Yeah, it says, yeah. So it was 3 weeks before, and I don't know why it says like days before assassination. Like, sure, you can count the 3 weeks in days, but you usually say days if it hasn't been enough weeks. If it's like days before, it's got to be like 6 or under. Because if it's 7, then it's like, oh, a week before. Or if it's like 15 or 18 even, you'd be like, oh, well, weeks before. That's like saying that something happened a year ago, and instead of saying a year ago, you say days before. And by days, you mean 365 days before. This is so how am I supposed to trust an organization and basically take their word for it that they have seen this video when they can't even get their facts straight about when this thing happened? And if they're going to play dirty games like this about Like, oh, we got this video, or heavily implying, sure, they're not saying we got the video, heavily implying that this is the video and it will contain it. I can't trust people like that. If they're gonna be acting like dirty liars, how are we supposed to take their word for anything? But anyway, the video, or rather the not video. Let me stretch this out a little bit, because for some reason they have to show you the sidebar. What I would like to do, not what I would like to do, what I would like websites like this to do, and I'll fix it to put it in the center here in a minute, but what I would like, well, I guess it's like pretty close. What I would like websites like this to do, and what most websites already do, is if they have a layout where they have like the main content over here and it takes up most of the page, and they have some sidebar BS going on. If you make it smaller, it should make the sidebar go away, but it shouldn't cut off the text like this. See how it's like right up to the edge? It looks weird. It's like, it bothers me. There should be like an even sort of border, and usually this one doesn't. Like, any sort of modern website is going to be responsive enough so that if you go like this, or like this, basically, you don't see this stuff on the right. It's going to disappear, and the main content is going to be nice and centered, and everything is going to look nice. But I guess they can't do that. So I want to have the border, so I'm gonna have to keep the sidebar, because if the border isn't there, it bothers me. This is so so irrelevant to anything. I apologize. Anyway, here's the article. Let me move it a little bit. Well, I don't know. It's only like a little bit being cut off by my stupid face. Okay, and then put myself over here a little bit. Scoot me over. Okay. Right. Okay. So, oh, this button isn't working. That's weird. This is the Bombshell article that isn't the video. Again, oh, secret video. Okay, we read that. About 200 turning point years later, shifted over sleep. Blah 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 blah. Aspen, Colorado, in August last year. See, even in the article, it says in August. So that's already not days. His life was unfortunately cut short on September 10th. So that's at least, like, if it was like August 30th, which it wasn't, but even if it was August 30th or 31st or whatever is the last day of August, it would still not be like days away. It would be like a little over a week. So, but it wasn't even that. It was weeks. So I don't know why, like, if they know how, like, what the actual date was, but they still go ahead and lie in the Twitter post. So just for more of those clickety-clacks. So apparently, one patron stood to pose an unusual question to the group's founder, Charlie Kirk. Kind of a hard question to ask, but I think it's probably important to everybody in this room, and I'm wondering about Turning Point's succession plan should, God forbid, something happen to you, the concerned manufacturer asked. What a great question, Kirk responded. Deadpan. What a great question, Kirk responded, deadpan, prompting tense laughter in the crowd. If he wasn't laughing about it, why would they laugh about it? That's weird. Kirk was hosting a Q&A session at the Triumphant Gathering. They were, in part, celebrating Turning Point's role in helping elect President Donald Trump and making plans to found new group. That looks weird to me. To found new group chapters at American high schools. I guess that's that creepy stuff that Erika's doing right now with all of the didn't they isn't that not going so well? Because I remember that video from Arkansas where she kept like wiping snot into her eyeballs, or wiping pretend snot into her eyeballs. But I don't know if that's really been going well after that first sort of kickoff. I know I've seen some articles about parents basically um, calling into the schools and complaining and saying they're going to sue if they bring this stuff into their schools. Um, so that's, I don't know. It seems like it's not going well. I haven't dug deep into it, so I probably shouldn't harp on it too much without researching. But anyway, several people in the room thought the question seemed like a distraction, but Kirk took time to answer it. Some of America's great founder-led organizations, he observed, had collapsed after their original leader left. His goal at Turning Point USA, he explained, was to make it vision-led. A lot of my job is not always in the day-to-day details. It's very much vision casting, very much driving success, he said. We have a great board, and God forbid if something happens, they'll figure it out. I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA if something happens to me. Erika would do a great job. Actually, no, sorry, that was wrong. The way that it sounds in the video, it goes, we have a great board, and God forbid if something happens, they'll figure it out. I appoint my wife. Like, it's so fast, like, I can't even do it right. They'll figure it out, I appoint my... It's like... I can't even do it with how quickly it starts. It's not humanly possible to start that fast. That next sentence is like, I appoint my wife. Like, right here. Like, that part is like... It's not possible. It's not humanly possible to start as fast as they started it in the video anyway. And this is so... I think I've pointed this out before, how even internally inconsistent this statement is. So they have a great board, and if something happens, the board will figure it out. This is a completely different sentiment than the next sentence that supposedly happened immediately after. Like, these are two completely different sentiments. Like, to claim that this is a real video to begin with, okay, whatever, sure. But then to claim that this sentence was said immediately prior to this sentence, and, well, this sentence, I guess. Like, I have a hard time, really hard time. I don't believe them. I don't believe that this particular sentence ever happened. I think it's even possible that the other stuff happened. I think, like, this over here, like, I don't really see anything inconsistent or weird there with what he's said previously, so, like, publicly. So, this part, this could be real. I don't know. I don't think it is, but it's possible. It could be. It could be super real, and they just processed it to hell and back so that it reads fake. Whatever. It's totally possible. But this, like, it doesn't fit. It sounds fake on the audio. It doesn't fit at all. It's completely the opposite thing. Like, he said one thing that's kind of reasonable, and then he completely flipped in, like, unhuman speed immediately to something that's completely the completely the opposite of what he just said. That makes no sense. Anyway, Erika would do a great job, he said reassuringly before moving to the next question. And see, here's this video, but if you don't read the caption, you're like, oh, well, where's the video? But if you read the caption, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA founder. Oh, can you not see it over me? Let me move myself a little bit. Put myself up here. Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA founder, speaking to fans on his TikTok account on September 4th last year, just days before his assassination. This looks like it's supposed to be the video. but it's a completely unrelated video that they are referencing that has nothing to do with the appointment stuff. Like, what? 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 This is so dirty. Let's look at. I guess they have the rest of the photos in the article too. Nothing to do with it. Of course, it's unrelated. Classic. Yeah, it's. That is started. It's not even that they use random pictures, which they do, but I guarantee that the choice to use a screenshot from like a phone camera of Charlie, that was 100% deliberate. This first image, this was very, very deliberate. Professor Hizzle, hello. Nice to see you. Welcome back. This is this picture is ugh. I shouldn't be rude, but you know. I was sort of scrolling by and I was like, oh, that's, yeah. Ugh. Board members and donors. See, like, it's weird how they will caption photos that have nothing to do with what's going on underneath. Like, board members and donors to Turning Point USA say Kirk took the question about the future of the organization seriously. And it's a photo of, like, him and Erika with, like, a super creepy expression on her face, too. She's like, I'm gonna get you. This is like, I'm gonna have nightmares about this. I'm gonna have nightmares about Erika sneaking up and like, like trying to attack me or something. This is like an I'm gonna get you expression. See, like, he seems like happy, you know. He's like, this is like a normal happy person, and this is like I can't do it. I can't do the face, especially with the mask. It's not gonna work. But it's just like I can't do it. Oh my goodness. Sorry. This is a live show. We kind of dick around over here. I apologize. It's not gonna be polished like the other videos are. 3 weeks after the Aspen event, a worst nightmare. A worst. What? 3 weeks after the Aspen event, a worst whatever. Nightmare was realized. Kirk 31 was shot and killed by an alleged assassin while speaking at Utah Valley University on September 10th. 8 days after that, the organization's board voted unanimously to appoint his widow as his successor. Didn't take them long. Didn't take them long at all. Video of the Aspen Donor Conference has never been released publicly, but the Daily Mail has been given exclusive access to watch the full video. Report on the contents and speak to individuals, blah, 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 blah. So, why? This over here. Why? Why not just release it? Why? So, as a quick reminder, previously we heard from Blake Neff about why they're not releasing the video. They're not releasing the video because I should pull up the actual tweet. I don't know if I still have it or how long it's going to take for me to find it again. But we heard from Blake Neff that the reason that he's not going to be pulling up the tweet the reason that they're not going to be publishing the video, I'm going to be pulling up the tweet. Blake Neff is not going to be pulling up nothing. But see, this is why I can't multitask. I gotta find the tweet now because I'm gonna keep getting distracted by it, and this is gonna be a mess. This is gonna be like Erika Kirk talking at like a event with a big crowd and falling all over my words and probably say something about corn again. That's gonna be me right here if I keep getting distracted about this. Anyway, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it right now. I'm gonna try. Anyway, let me see if I can get this. But basically, the reason that he was saying that they're not going to release it was because of Candace. They're not going to publish the video because Candace might say something about it. I'm not joking. That was the reason given, is because Candace is going to call it AI. I like how that's also, not only is it completely a crazy reason to not publish a video that's supposedly real, but I like how they like preemptively also sort of hedge this thing of like, oh, they're gonna say it's AI. Well, yeah, if it's freaking AI, people are gonna say it's AI. Like that's how it works. So just by just because you said something ahead of time and say they did eventually publish it and say people did say it was AI because it like looks like AI for whatever reason, it's like hedging it so that when people call it out, he can be like, oh well, see, it's like totally not AI because I said you were gonna say that and then you said it and therefore that makes it like false or something for whatever reason. So it's interesting that he was already hedging it with that. But no, I mean, regardless of what he said at that time, if they do publish it and it looks like AI and people say it's AI, whether they said ahead of the fact that people are gonna call it AI doesn't really give them any points. I do want to pull it up now because it was so funny. I know I have a screenshot somewhere, but I don't know how long it's gonna take me to find. I have the amount of data I have on the Kirk situation is completely bonkers. Like it would take some time. Let's see. I wonder if I can just search for it. It should be pretty popular, so. Nope. No, I'm not getting it. I don't see it. Is that... Is this... No.
At Turning Point is because...
Okay, here's the original, but that's not the right... Okay, I found it. Okay, so here he posted himself at some event. I guess they're trying to be Charlie Kirk by wearing the shirt that he died in and doing events at colleges during an ICU event. Anyway, blah 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 blah, and then Candace was like, "Oh, can you release the video?" And I don't know, it seemed like she was pretty kind. And then here's his original response of why they're not doing it and why they haven't played the video either. They only played the audio at the her like walkout little video thing for MFest 2025. Candace, we haven't bothered playing it because we know psychopathic predators like yourself do not care what is true or false. I messed it up. Do not care what is true or false, and normal evidentiary logic has no effect on you. I don't know what Neff sounds like. I imagine it's something like that. You're the kind of person who sees coded messages in the number 33, but then ignores evidence like DNA on a rifle. If it's your rifle, it's gonna have your DNA on it. That's not like, I gotcha. No, if it wasn't his rifle or his family's rifle, sure, that would be suspicious. Why is your DNA on somebody else's rifle? Or Tyler Robinson's own family members turning him in. I don't think this happened either. Anyway, playing the audio at MFest already wasn't enough. You'll obviously just say it's AI. or a hologram, or an Israeli actor or something. So what's the point? We gave up the possibility of any good faith conversation with you a month ago. It's like trying to reason with a maniac brandishing a knife and screaming at people on a subway. You're the same thing. So yeah, he said that. So yeah, the reason is apparently Candace won't believe it anyway, so why bother? Because the world revolves around Candace, apparently. I didn't know that. That's news to me. Yeah, I don't think they got any shame. Shame is something that they are certainly missing. Rick now, nice to see you. Hello, welcome back. Nip, I don't recall seeing you before. Welcome, hello. Rick now, I feel like you were waiting until I got back from Poland to get back to streaming. It's been a little while, huh? I've just been working on that video. I literally, like right before this stream, I finally finalized the script for that. So I'm getting very close. The research was like mountains and mountains of research, so I didn't have time for anything else for a while. 10 out of 10 voice. Just all right. So yeah, the original reason was like, oh well, Candace or whatever. And yeah, this was a good response too. I don't know if he ever responded after that, but anyway, now, oh yeah, I think I remember seeing something from Blake Neff about this, since the thing came out too, but I haven't read it yet. When I was searching for that one, for this one, when I was searching for this one, I came across some others of Blake Neff specifically. Should we read it? I think we should read it. I'm not gonna read it entirely in that voice because it's obnoxious. Like it's too obnoxious. There's too much text for me to do it entirely like that. I apologize. Current situation. He's gonna lay down the situation. A Daily Mail reporter was writing up the controversy over who Charlie wanted to succeed him. His wife, who knew him best, whom he trusted most, and whom the TPUSA board eagerly supported, or some other person. Hint, Candace obviously thinks it should have been herself. Why is everything about Candace? Of course, no video is actually needed. Well, hang on a minute. I think we do need the video. I think a video is actually needed. So I don't know where he gets that. To prove Charlie wanted Erika to succeed him if something happened. Everyone who knew Charlie well and spent time around him knew this was the case, and there was zero suspense going into the board vote. It's weird that all of this stuff was like super secret. He's never, and everything he said publicly was always the opposite of that. So yeah, that's super weird that apparently, I skimmed the article earlier too, and the article is gonna say kind of something like that, that apparently Charlie was going around for apparently like years, going around in private, apparently it was super hush hush, and telling basically everybody he knew and everybody who would listen that if he suddenly dropped dead for whatever reason, he wanted his wife to run this corporation. I keep calling corporation because it feels like one. This organization. I apologize. I shall issue a retraction. Probably more than TPUSA will ever do. So, hi, just started into your live stream, checking out what you're about, or into more kind of right leaning here, but kind of natural too, but def not. It left leaning. Oh, cool. Welcome. Okay. Everyone knew Charlie, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Still, while Turning Point would still rather not release private videos in response to insane screaming from lunatics. Okay, he seems like he's projecting there a little bit. When you like private videos, it sounds like it's like some kind of like spicy content. Like we don't want to see like spicy content of Charlie. We just want to see if he appointed his wife or not. Like this is I don't know, like calling like private videos. Like, oh, don't release the private videos. That sounds so dirty. Like I don't remember the last time I ever heard of somebody referencing private videos and it meaning like regular stuff that a bunch of people witnessed, apparently hundreds. It was apparently like a hundreds of people thing. So what do you mean private videos? They did it to show, or they did show it to the Daily Mail reporter just to confirm that the video exists. And we're gonna like take their word for it, okay? For good measure, the reporter also spoke to 3 separate donors to confirm that the question and answer did happen. It seems like Candace also spoke to 4 separate donors, and they confirmed it didn't. So she got one on you if we're counting here. if we're really counting, and the count is so important, it seems like she has one more. So the Mail accordingly reported that the video is real. Candace is now screaming that the video must be made using AI, exactly as I said she would. Oh, no way. Exactly as I said she would a month ago. Is this the blah 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 blah? Yeah, and she responded to this and it looks like she missed an email. Okay, big deal. And then well, exactly as I said she would. Okay, this is, yeah, I mean it didn't even take them releasing it and people looking at it being like, that's AI. He's already calling it like, I said she was gonna say it's AI, and if she says it's AI, then it must somehow make it not true because he predicted somebody saying it's AI. Okay. The logic in this one, it hurts. Anyway, yeah, it looks like Candace missed an email from the article writing person, and she responded to that. I saw that earlier. I didn't realize he quoted this as like a big deal in his own post. Like, this is the one I saw when I was looking at the stuff Candace was writing about it, but I didn't realize that Neff had actually taken this post and quoted it. Like, this is the one where Candace is like, hey, why don't you contact me about the article? I would have sent you the donors and given you access and answered any questions, etc. And they were like, no, we did contact you. Here's the email. And she was like, oh, I didn't get the email. You can still contact me and I'll still give you the info or whatever. So yeah, that happened. And he like quoted all this and screenshotted like it's a big deal. Like, okay. I understand that it would be a big deal if she wasn't like, oh, I'm so sorry, I must have missed that. You can still contact me and I'll still give you the info. Like if she was like, oh, too bad, so sad, too late, can't do it now. Like if that was the situation, then yeah, him quoting that would have been totally legit. Like, oh, she doesn't want to, she's like hiding information, she's being dodgy, whatever. That would have been legit. But anyway, let's go back over here. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. As secrecy around the footage has become a major point of contention for critics. And it... blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's the reasons they're giving of... we get new reasons. So now it's a private video, and it's like a donor thing, and they're not going to release it publicly because it's like a private donor thing. Not because Candace is going to call it AI and make fun of you and point it off. That's no longer the reason. The reason is now it's like a super private thing. So here's like, oh well, we never released it because it's a private, it's like super private. And did you know that it was never been released publicly? Anyway, we get it. It's private. And attendees are asked not to film them. Yeah, we get it. It's private. Okay. But turning point cameras were rolling that day. Why that day? This makes it seem like they usually aren't rolling, but that particular day they were. That's super sus. Such gatherings are considered private by the organization. Attendees are asked not to film them. Okay. But turning point cameras were rolling that day. This makes it seem like they usually aren't rolling and it's like a super private, unfilmed thing. But this specific one happened to be recorded. Okay. I used to actually like Candace in the past until she kind of went a little on the loopy side. Also, I meant neutral, not natural. Oh, no problem. Okay, that makes more sense. Or was yeah, no problem. Yeah, Candace has been... What do I think about Candace? Candace is hit and miss for me. I think with the Kirk stuff, I really appreciate the kind of access she has and how, obviously as a big creator, she has the resources and the name and everything to go and be able to get all this information. People are sending her stuff and she could have a team and everything. So I appreciate that somebody that has the ability to look into this kind of stuff and really research it and really focus on it is doing so, because I don't think the feds are. But the whole like Macron's wife, was it? Yeah, Macron is the president of France, and then his wife is the what's her name? Brigitte Macron, and then Macron is the last name. Anyway, so the whole Brigitte thing, I don't know about that, honestly. Like, I don't know if there's something in those pants, and honestly, I don't care. I don't know why to Candace it's such a big deal. Honestly, I just don't care. To me, it is not important at all. If there's the whole, like, it's France, who gives? Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm with that. What other bigger stuff has Candace been kind of known for? I don't know. Recently, I think it's basically that. I haven't really been following her until the Kirk thing because I'm particularly interested in this particular topic, and I don't really care if Brigitte has something different in the pants than we expect. And her other stuff, I've seen a few things of hers kind of as she was, I don't know how many years ago this was, but maybe like 5 years ago or so. I don't know, I'm bad at estimating years. But I do remember seeing a few interviews of hers here and there. I remember I saw one where her and Blair White were going at it. That was interesting. And anyway, nowadays I do appreciate her, but I don't really know enough to really call it one way or the other. The Brigitte thing seems like a waste of time in my opinion. But that's kind of where I'm at with Candace. Videos of... Oh, and also it seems like she's gotten into the whole, like, oh, demons, religious kind of thing. And that's... To me, that's a little out there, but the world is a weird place, so... Anyway. Let us continue over here. I don't want to read, like, the whole thing word for word, but let me see if anything else kind of stands out here. Oh yeah, so first real details of Kirk's Mark's interview with podcaster Matt and Kelly in late November. Audio was also played wearing a glittering pantsuit before her first speech as CEO. They forgot CEO and chair of the board. Because they usually, every time they introduce Erika, they say CEO and chair, even though her late husband was only CEO. They'll sometimes do like CEO and founder, but they never said CEO and chair for him. So it's weird that she gets like an extra title. But I've harped on that before. But here they're only putting CEO, which is interesting. That has not been enough. Blah 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 blah. No, it hasn't. It's not only that it's only audio, it's also that it's layered under like several layers of music, sound effects, and like played through with like all the audience sounds and processing and extra processing. Like there's so many layers of processing on top of it. So it's not only that there's no video. Why don't okay, they don't want to release the audio because it's like super top secret, or my bad, they don't want to release the video because the video is super top secret that I want to be showing any faces, and they don't know how to use blur on a video. They're just that incompetent. I get it, whatever. I don't get it. That's complete, that makes no sense. They can't possibly be that incompetent. They don't know how to use blur. But even if so, like even if that was somehow magically true, they could start by releasing that same audio that they did, but without all the sound effects on top of it, without the music, without all of the other things that they have done to it. If they just release that exact audio, but the raw version, like start there. I won't accept it as like the full evidence. Like if they have the video, they need to release that too. So if this is something that they thought was important enough to insist is so super true and play at that event to give her more legitimacy and all of this stuff, if that is so crucial, then they need to release it and just blur other people who don't want to be known or whatever. And why don't they just blur everybody but Charlie? How about that? Just blur everybody else. If it's so top secret we can't possibly know who was at that top secret event, just blur them. Blur all the non-Charlie faces. That can't be that hard. Or you know what's even easier? Just crop it so that you can only see the Charlie part. There's like an endless reason why this completely makes no sense. But if that's gonna take them some time, whatever. They already separated out the audio. They already have it. They had to have it to build the whole intro thing at MFest. So they could basically take that today and drop it off on like YouTube or whatever. Just upload it basically anywhere they want, and that would be a start. that would be a start. Okay, the Brigitte thing is how it gets deeper into the PDF and weird worship stuff. That's what demons and stuff with Brigitte. A lot of the info seems real, but I never know what to believe. So, yeah, that kind of stuff is. Yeah, the skepticism and that stuff makes sense. I just started taking AI classes. It's not that hard to see this as a scam. Professor Hoodoo, welcome back. Yeah, I mean, the way it sounds and the way it doesn't make sense together, it's inconsistent, like sentence to sentence, and it sounds off. And anyway, I've already harped on that. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but anyway, let me. Where was this here? The glittering pantsuit. Yeah, so if they would just release the raw audio, that would be a great start. I would like that a lot. And they have no excuse to do that. I get that they're adding all of these additional excuses for the video. First, it was because Candace wouldn't believe it or do something nefarious with it somehow, apparently. And now it's because all of these meetings are super private and the members are attendees are asked not to record them. But apparently that day, the Turning Point USA cameras were rolling that day. So are they always rolling or aren't they? That's interesting. That hasn't been enough. Blah blah blah. Allegedly being fake or part of a scheme by outside forces to seize control of Turning Point. I mean, it seems like the inside forces have already taken. The inside forces have already seized control of Turning Point. What outside forces? More about the Candace Owens thing. Oh yeah, so she's got this marker thing with the number of days. That's funny. Blah blah. Candace said stuff. They have a screenshot of Candace, but they don't have a screenshot of the little like image of Blake Neff with the little days since or whatever. They brought it up in the text, and if they're gonna have an image from her show, why not screenshot that one? Because that's too funny. They just did a random one. Erika speaks with President Donald Trump during a Turning Point USA event. Speaks is... I don't know why she's like holding on to him. Weird. Erika would be confirmed ruthless psychopath if she had a hand in faking her husband's voice to strengthen her case for taking control of Turning Point. Okay, this is all stuff Candace said. Blah, 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 blah. Erika be crazy-o is basically what this part is. Candace also claims to respect the donors, but that conflicts, but okay. Some of them in the room. Wait, that conflicts with the Daily Mail's review of the footage and accounts of multiple Turning Point's donors, some of whom were in the room during the Aspen event. So they have some accounts of some of those donors, but some of them weren't even there when that was said. But Candace's were, so she still has more. Okay. I'm interested to see if now that she has publicly responded that they're gonna come back and update this properly with all that new information that they'll get from the other donors or whatever. I'm interested to see how that's gonna look. Did the request to speak? Request wants to speak to the donors, blah blah. Okay, yeah. So we covered this a little bit when Blake was like screenshotting, like, "Oh, you didn't blah 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 blah. I got an email back, the blah," and then she was like, "Oh, I missed the thing." Okay, so again, it seems like they might come back and either edit this article or write a new one or something after they speak to those other donors, if they ever do that. And if they don't, that's gonna be a story on its own. Blah 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 blah. Several individuals who were inside the Aspen event told the Daily Mail that they heard Kirk. I don't know why I said that weird. They heard Kirk say that Erika should be his successor, and immediately thought of those remarks after Erika's appointment as CEO. And also something that's weird is, besides how one sentence doesn't make sense from one to the next, over here. Where were we? Yeah, so we have a great board. If something happens, we'll figure it out. Again, completely separate sentence from the next one here, that I appoint my wife. And this is... Who talks like that? Okay? Charlie doesn't talk like that. He speaks like a normal person, generally. So this whole, like, I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA if something happens... Especially if this was, like... This is like a Q&A session. This isn't like a legal document where he's going to like a notary and he's like, I appoint blah 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 blah. Nobody talks like this. And this is like right then and there at this Q&A, he said, "I appoint my wife." Like, come on. Uh, I find it hard to believe that anybody's buying this who really looked at all the information available. I find that so hard to believe. That's such a weird formal thing to say out of nowhere. Like, if say this was the case and everything we know about him is not true, and everything he said publicly about women is a lie. Say that's true. He still wouldn't have said this. Even if he did want her to run turning point, he'd be like, well, if something happens, he wouldn't have said the board would figure it out. He would be like, well, if something happens, the board knows to give the job to my wife or whatever, or Erika would do a great job. We have a great board, and they know that Erika would do a great job in my place, or something like that. Like, this, none of this makes sense. This whole thing, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense together. It doesn't make sense separately. It's completely not believable. Let's see if there's anything else here. One prominent donor was asked. So, one donor. The question was someone else. So his mind apparently flashed back to some other previous conversation. Oh, just the previous evening, apparently. Like, literally the evening before the Aspen event, that they had a dinner. And apparently even at that dinner, I mean, even at that dinner, they were talking about all this other stuff. And then Kirk said there's gonna be more hyperphosphatemia, blah, 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 blah. It was not the first time he comprehended his mortality. Kirk's fingers. Yeah, so even... What? So he just said you're going to see more high-profile assassinations. Not that he said anything about himself, like, being offed, or that he's gonna appoint Erika. Like, this previous evening thing is like, okay, there's gonna be more assassinations. That's a weird coincidence. And then he got, offed. That's okay. But none of this says anything about appointing Erika, or even that it's gonna be himself that gets offed. Former Michael Lure told the Daily Mail, Kirkstone grew his fears. Apparently he was fearing what would happen to the mission in his absence. With the way this reads, you would think, like, you would think Kirk is going around constantly, well, when he was alive, that Charlie was going around constantly thinking about what would happen when he died, and constantly telling people, by the way, if something happens to me, Erika is going to take over. By the way, if something just FYI, if something happens to me, Erika's going to take over. But FYI, did you know, like, it's so scary out there today. There's all these high-profile assassinations happening. And by the way, dude, just so you know, if something happens to me, I want you to know, I want Erika to take over for me. I really want you to know that. I want you to know. With the way this reads, he's literally going around to everybody he knows and constantly talking about how he's gonna die and how he wants Erika to do his job, even though there's other interviews where I think it was Blake Neff himself that has said that, he hasn't really even met Erika, or he didn't really know much about Erika. I don't know exactly what the words that he said. I don't want to misrepresent it, but basically it was something like he didn't really know who she was or what she was like until, she took his job after Charlie died. So it seems like they didn't really know her. The only way that they really knew about her was that she was married to Charlie, but not anything really about who she was, what she was like. So she wasn't it didn't seem like she was around all of these other TPUSA people. So why would he appoint somebody who the top people at TPUSA don't know that well? Like, what does she know about running this organization specifically? Like, is he just constantly, like, he goes to work, he does his work stuff, and then he's constantly coming home, and instead of spending time with his kids, he's, like, constantly talking to his wife about how, like, when he dies, how she should do things. Hey, honey, by the way, I had a long day at work today, but let's discuss of the plans about when something happens to me. Here's what you gotta do. Here are the blueprints. She loves to say the word blueprints. It's one of her favorite words. I know it's kind of a weird thing to do a video on, but I do have plans for that too. He's like, here's all the blueprints for what I want you to do when I'm gone. I want you to go and take charge of this organization, even though you don't even work for it. I don't know, this is just so unbelievable. Yeah, so this is apparently another person. So people are constantly asking him, if something happens to you, what do you recommend we do? He said, Erika is very bright. She can handle it. We have discussed this. I would be totally comfortable with Erika running things. Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. Okay, sure. This is not a new question that he had from people. I remember this topic coming up repeatedly over the years. Yeah, I mean, again, the way this article reads is he's going constantly, like, left and right, left and right. Everybody he knows, he's constantly talking about how he's gonna, not be around anymore and how he wants his wife to take over. If this was really happening, did none of those other people, when he said this, like, oh, I want Erika to run things, none of them suggested, like, oh, why don't we hire Erika to come in and, like, just see how things work here? Maybe get her familiarized with some of this stuff so that she's not, like, lost or whatever when she inevitably has to come here and take charge and boss babe it up. He's constantly saying this, but apparently she was never even an employee. Like, okay, sure. Several allies feel too much attention focused on the video. Several Turning Point allies feel that too much attention has been focused on the video from Aspen, and said that it was always clear to them that Kirk had intended for Erika to lead the organization in his absence. Again, this is like another. This makes it seem like there's more than the ones that just mentioned. Other people that apparently the video isn't a big deal. Like, okay, forget the video. We just know. We always knew somehow. He was always appointing her left and right. He'd come to work in the morning, he'd drink his coffee and be like, remember, Erika's gonna take over for me when I'm gone. And then he'd go on his merry way. Basically, every time we saw Charlie, he was always going on about how very bright Erika was and how she could handle it. I don't know if it meant his job or whatever else, but one board member who wished to remain anonymous, oh how convenient, confirmed to the Daily Mail he was personally involved with personal, financial, and estate planning with the couple after they were married. Okay, so that sounds like personal, financial, and estate planning would be like taking over for him as head of household, not with the organization, which would be a separate discussion. Because this is not organization related. This is like a personal finance thing, which is completely different. And oh yeah, of course they have to include this video. I don't know if anybody, I don't know if you guys watch Candace, but apparently she has received a copy of an email that allegedly comes from the White House. I don't know if you guys watch Candace or not. Maybe we should go ahead and cover this real quick. I wonder if I think she might have posted about it. Let me see if I can find it. But anyway, this is the infamous "I want to go home" video from the White House thing where she was there for whatever reason at this event, and then they conveniently filmed her walking out and being like, I want to go home. When that's all that we've been asking. That's what we've been saying this whole time. Just go home. Go home. Go home. What are you doing there? Instead of wanting to go home, she could have just stayed home, and then she wouldn't have to cry about wanting to go home. Even though she like hung out afterwards after this shot over by the cars and not really like trying to get home. She's just chilling after this whole situation. This was a whole separate mess. Erika brought in $6 million selling Charlie's Sabbath book, yet she violated the Sabbath by attending the White House dinner with the politicians and the reporters. Oh, was that on Saturday? I didn't even consider that. That's an interesting point. Can I just say I'm really enjoying this? Oh, good. It's nice to see you guys in the chat, so I'm not like talking to myself. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so this whole this White House thing, like, honestly, when I first saw this, I thought this was like, I thought somebody would put this up as a joke, but no, it's real. This is a real thing. That's a real thing. Not that this is like a real unstaged event, but it's a real video, is what I meant. Erika speaks during the memorial service for her husband. Blah, 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 blah. After she appointed by the board as CEO. See, here, they don't even say anything about her being also chair. Like, this whole article, they keep saying she was appointed as CEO, appointment as CEO. CEO left and right, but nothing about the board, while her title is always like, oh, CEO and chair of board and chair of board. They're completely not even mentioning the chair thing. It's a weird change. Kirk had a bright future, but donors frequently asked him about what would happen if he left Turning Point USA. That makes no sense. Why would he literally was Turning Point USA, which is why now that he's gone, Turning Point USA is in a toilet. Not only because he's gone, but also because it's Erika leading it and she's completely destroying it. But if he literally was that organization, why would he leave? Why would this be a frequent question? What would happen if he left Turning Point USA? What is he gonna do? What is he gonna sell lemonade on the street? Like, what do you mean left Turning Point USA? That's like his whole thing. It frequently asked him. I would understand, like, okay, maybe somebody asked him once for whatever reason. Weird question, considering everything. But okay. But frequently? Okay, sure. And during those discussions, they made it clear that if anything should happen to Kirk, his wife would be responsible for organization. Wait, they made it clear. During those discussions, they made it clear that if anything should happen to Kirk, his wife would be responsible for the organization that he had founded. This makes it sound like the donors are saying that should be the case instead of Kirk is saying that should be the case. But again, like, this is such a weird thing. If he was literally going around telling basically everybody and their grandma that, like, Erika's going to be doing it, why is this such a secret? Like, he never bothered mentioning it in public. It was always like, oh, women shouldn't be doing CEO stuff at all, and yet he appointed his... Okay, sure. It's no matter how many times I hear it, it doesn't get any less ridiculous. It doesn't. Erika knows more about Charlie's feelings and emotions and where he wanted to bring Turning Point than anybody else out there, the board member said. The board already knew what the plan was because they talked about it with Charlie. Everybody knew. Everybody knew Erika was going to be doing it except for, well, everybody. Everybody knew except for everybody. Everybody didn't know, but everybody knew. Okay. Friends of Kirk also told that he frequently spoke of his wife taking over the organization in his absence. Literally, this whole article, it's like all he does is go around and say, by the way, When I'm gone, I'm gonna be gone, you know? And when I'm gone, Erika over here, she's gonna do it. She's gonna take over. She's so bright. She's gonna do it. By the way, you over, you, come here, come here, come here. Did you know? Erika's gonna do it. You back there. You, come here. Gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you. Come here. Erika's gonna take over for me, by the way. When I'm gone, Erika's gonna do it. Yep, she's gonna do that. She's gonna be boss babe CEO. Don't worry. All the other stuff I was saying about how women don't belong in these like CEO roles or work in general, all of that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's a totally different thing for whatever reason. This is Erika we're talking about. Okay, she's like so special. She can do it. She can do it. She can be boss babe, and it's not weird. Okay, it's totally 100% different. Okay, it's Erika we're talking about. It's Erika. She's so bright. So bright. By the way, did you know? I'm gonna be gone? I'm gonna be gone. Erika's gonna fill in for me. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be, don't worry. She's gonna do it. She's gonna do fine. She's so smart. She's gonna be able to just hop on in. She's gonna be CEO for me. By the way, I know I'm not chair, but she will also be chair of the board. I really want her to do the chair of the board thing. I know I'm not chair of the board, but I feel that she's so much better at this like running turning point thing that she really should be chair of the board and CEO. In fact, you know what? Why am I doing this at all? I should just quit. I should quit right now, and Erika should do it. You know what? She is so much better suited for this because she can be both CEO and chair, and I don't even need to do this. I'll stay home. You know what? I'll come out for once in a while, argue with college kids, and you know whatever, do some speeches here and there, etc. But she can run the organization. I'll just stay home with the kids. She's so much better at this than I am. Like, she's got to be chair and everything. She's so smart. She's gonna do a great job. I'll watch you so I don't have to watch Candace. Okay, we'll definitely cover the White House situation briefly then. Within 24 hours of Charlie's life ending, Erika doubled the production of his Sabbath book and went on tour with it in less than 3 months. An amazing feat. I heard about that. That is indeed crazy. I forgot where I heard that though. But that is wild. I think it was it Candace? It was probably Candace because I do listen to Candace every time she puts out an episode. But I heard apparently like somebody called her on the phone and they were like, "Oh, should we increase the order of the books or whatever?" And she was like, "Yes, increase the order. Get all the books." Like she was like approving stuff that same day. He's not even cold yet, and she's already like, "Okay, we got to get more books." If my husband died, like if I had a husband and he died, and somebody called me and they were like, "Hey, by the way, do you want to like, he had this book thing going on. Do you want to order extra?" I would be like, "Fuck off, f off!" Like I don't care. I don't care right now. This is like an important. I know I'm laughing because it's so unbelievable and it doesn't really match like the pretend situation, but it's so crazy to me. Like if you really care about somebody and they pass, you're not gonna be thinking about how many books you need to sell or anything like that. Like that's gonna be so unreasonable to even discuss that that would deserve just hanging up on. Like you can't that's not something that you do. Love 600-pound life. Didn't Erika say last week that one of the Daily Mail journalists wrote a his piece on her? Yeah, I was thinking about that too. The White House situation and her with the hat. I know we reviewed that video when it came out, and in that video with the hat with the black outfit, I think it was somebody from the Daily Mail that she went to like confront. Like that's according to her, if I remember correctly, um, she literally went to this event that she ran out of crying because like so scary. Um, apparently she went to this event to confront the journalists, and here's Daily Mail basically giving her everything she needs. Well, except for the video, they can't do that. The video itself. Everything except for the video itself, like they're like handing it to her. So I don't know if it was like a different reporter at Daily Mail, that was like a specific reporter that was apparently so terrible that she had to go look them in the eye or whatever. Weird. Nothing this chick says adds up. Nothing. Like there are so many lies on top of lies that I don't think she even remembers them all, which is why it's so easy to pull apart, because it's like she just keeps doing it. Honestly, she would be so much more successful if she just stopped lying. Like even the whole, oh, the night before they weren't in the same room, she made up this rabbit story and this and that. Even if she just said like, oh, I feel so terrible. We were fighting a lot, and maybe we were even thinking about divorce or whatever. Let's if that was true, allegedly, maybe it was. I don't know. It seems kind of like it, but again, I don't know for a fact. But even if they weren't like a perfect couple shortly before he died, if she was honest about that and she wasn't constantly lying, I think people would have much more sympathy for her. She started with like 5,000% sympathy and trust and everything. And that was hers to lose. And she lost it all. She lost it all. She was constantly, like, every time she opens her mouth, she loses more of that trust and more of that sympathy. Right after what happened to Kirk happened, basically everybody was like, oh my God, poor Erika. And then poor children, like had such a young family, poor Charlie. And then she came out and started talking next to that chair, like, oh, the cries of this widow, and started acting weird. And like every weird thing she said lost her sympathy and lost trust from the public. So it's only hers to lose. If only she was honest and she was like, oh, we were having a rough time. I feel so bad. Like, shortly before he died, we were having an argument. And, like, the night before, I feel so bad. I didn't even get to tell him how I love him and I forgive him or I'm sorry or whatever. Like, if she was just honest, none of this would be a thing. Like, none of this would be happening. But I don't think she's capable. I don't think she knows how to do honest. Like, it doesn't seem like she can. That's kind of the feeling I get from sort of a bird's eye view of everything, is like it seems like she can't do it. Erika wrote the foreword after he was dead. Oh, that's kind of weird. You would think like the person. That's interesting. I know I have the book here. This is a future project. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna hit you. This is a future project. I'm not even close to being done with the other ones I want to do before this, but this is the future. I didn't even know. Oh yeah, that's true. Foreword by Erika Kirk. I didn't even know this. That's true. When Charlie first spoke of writing a book on the Sabbath, I felt a quiet joy rise within me. Out of all the topics, blah 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 blah. And yet it was the right one. I knew he had been entrusted with the message for weary souls. Blah 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 blah. Says before the Lord remembers that he is God. Oh, no Jesus here either. Interesting. But the holy rest that comes only when one surrenders the rush, sits before the Lord and remembers that he is God. Word of God. God's hand. I wonder if she says Jesus in here. She's got to at least say something in here about Jesus, because this whole book is about like a religious thing. I don't see it. God. 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 It's kind of hard to see with like the light being on the opposite side. God who holds it all. Something in the previous time on earth be. Truth, blah, blah, live with soul. His faith. His defense of truth. The will of soul as the legacy of his faith in public. Charlie was bold and unflinching in his defense of truth. That is sad because of how many how many lies she's told. I'm not gonna read this whole thing right now, but that's interesting. I didn't even know that. You can tell I haven't started on that project, but that's so sad that she's gonna be like, she's gonna write about how he was so bold in the truth and whatever about Charlie, while consistently lying. Like, if when she was writing that, I bet she was lying about something actively. Like, so crazy. And she admitted on the book tour that she hadn't read it. Oh yeah, I think I actually have I saw a part of an interview recently that I have. There's a different part of it that I wanted to include in the video, but the other part of the interview was she was on the Charlie Kirk show, and it was Andrew Corbett and the other guy. Was it Blake Neff? Anyway, it was the two of them, and then she called in from somewhere else, and they were talking about the book, and she was like, "Oh yes, the book, blah blah," and then she was like, "I didn't even finish it. I'm saving the last chapter because it's like it's gonna be only the first time ever. I will only read it." What was she saying? It was something like, "I will only get to read it once for the first time," or something. I don't know, but it was something like that. So that is interesting because usually the person you expect to write something in front of the book probably would have read the book. I don't know if that's true for all books, but I kind of expect that to be the case. If you write the foreword for something, you should know how it ends at least. Trump Jr. owns the publishing company. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely dig deeper into the book situation. I've had it on my radar for a while. I keep coming up with all of these other things that are rabbit holes that I have to go down. Every time I'm researching something, I'm like, oh, well, look at this thing, and then that's a whole separate rabbit hole. And then as I'm trying to crawl back out of that one, back to what I was doing, I find another thing, and that's a separate rabbit hole. So there's so many things here. It's like an endless, like, buffet of rabbit holes. There's it's crazy with like this much public information out there about herself that she still lies about her life. It's like she doesn't know that everything is out there online and she never tried to hide any of it. Like, you can't both do that and then lie about your past when it's literally out there for everyone to see. Like, she went so much out of her way to be as public as possible, to be like as famous as she possibly could be, and now she's acting like that didn't happen, and she's like making up stories. It's so weird. It takes a special kind of person to be able to do that, to constantly lie like that, despite there being proof out there for anybody to see. Donald Trump Jr., a close friend of the couple. Yeah, I don't trust him. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust the son, the family, whatever. He told the Daily Mail he called speaking with Kirk about the future of Turning Point. He said, how convenient. I wonder if Daddy called him and was like, hey, people asking questions about the Kirk situation. You gotta go tell him it's all good. Tell him you told... Tell him Charlie told you he wants Erika to run the corporation, the organization, or whatever. I don't know what you call it, corporation. Just tell him that he was like, oh yeah, I want Erika to do it for me when I pass for whatever reason. Charlie spoke multiple times about the death threats we were constantly faced, and in those conversations, he made it abundantly clear to me that if anything ever happened to him, he wanted Erika to be left in charge of Turning Point, he said. He wasn't shy about saying it, and didn't keep it a secret from those of us who were close to him. Well, if he wasn't shy about saying it, why didn't he say it more publicly? Why is it like why was it not a secret only for those of us that were close? Like, why wasn't this like a public thing? Because either he was shy about it, or like you can't have both, right? Charlie Kirk always said to me, if anything ever happened to him, that he would leave Turning Point to Erika. Another anonymous person here. Going forward, I have no plans to publish the video of the Aspen event. Surprise, fucking prize. That, okay, I mean, I'm not, nobody's surprised. That's not surprising. While it would prove that Owen's suggestion of a fraud to be false, some in the organization believe good faith efforts would be rejected and the video would be weaponized. Okay, sure. So now we have another reason. So first, they're not releasing it because Candace. Then they're not releasing it because it's like super duper private. There's private videos. And now they're not releasing it because Candace again. And because it would be weaponized. Okay. On top of those concerns, the donor host succession question does not want her question and identity revealed. So censor her face. Censor out her face. Crop it out. I mean, whatever. Start by releasing the audio while you work on the cropping situation, which should only take like 5 minutes anyway. Like, so this is like, what, a fourth reason now? I lost count of why they're not releasing it. Because it's like super private, because Candace again. So first Candace, because it's super private, then Candace again, and now because this particular donor doesn't want it released. Sorry, I keep doing that. James Caddis, a pastor. I have plans for James Caddis. I haven't seen a lot of his content or researched into him like at all, but he has come up enough as a side character and is, I get this sense that something about this individual is super shady, and I'm going to be looking more into that. I don't have anything right now, but I'm going to be looking into it just as soon as I finish all the other stuff I'm looking into. It's just such a long list. I'm so sorry. There's so much I want to look into very deeply, and it takes time, unfortunately. Buffet of rabbit holes. Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. This is right now we are in Erika Kirk land where things don't have to make sense. That's where we are. Pastor, personal friend, and spiritual advisor to the couple. He was comforted when Erika was appointed by the board to succeed Kirk. Recalling personal conversations. Still to this day I can say I'm so relieved that his wishes came through on this. Kind of said, yeah, I don't trust this guy at all. Okay, that's pretty much all of it. Not pretty much. That is all of it. Ugh. Every time I see this picture, I'm like, I don't know why. Something about like, like something about it. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to do the White House thing. Where was that? I wonder if they have anything about this. Or is it just a video? Because there's the video. Is it not? I just want to go. They caught her on camera exactly as she was saying, I just want to go home. Like exactly at that right spot as she was walking down whatever length of corridor or whatever. At that exact point, somebody was filming her, and at that exact point in this long path, she said those words. Okay, sure. And then, okay, the Candace thing. Let me see if I can find that, what you call it. Oh, looks like, this is also a thing. John Mappin was apparently close to Charlie Kirk, and he said, I have spoken to a donor who was at the event in Aspen, and they have no recollection at all of what you have reported. I spoke to them again today in light of your article, and they reiterated this once more. They are quite certain. They also said that afterwards, following the main filmed Aspen meeting that you reported on, there was a smaller private meeting with Charlie where this subject was raised again, and that there was no mention of the version that you present. So if it was filmed and this really was a topic that was brought up, but Erika wasn't part of the conversation, then they really might have video of maybe this part, but they, because of all the layers of editing and maybe like cutting out some parts or cutting out like the spaces between the words, maybe, I don't know, whatever they did to it makes it read as fake with all the layers of music and effects and the like re-encoding over and over and processing. However they processed it makes it read fake, but what if it is true? Like what if this part where we have a great board and if something happens they'll figure out, what if this part is true? Because I don't know, but that's kind of how, that's not exactly what this is saying, but it does seem like that topic was brought up at that event, but this wasn't the answer. But I do wonder if this part was, and then this part was tacked onto it. And something else that sort of makes this a stronger possibility is because this part, the way that it follows. I was mentioning this earlier, and I kind of made fun of how like, oh, you can't even say it properly fast enough. Like it's not humanly possible to say it. They'll figure it out at a point, like with how quickly it starts right after that sentence. So it seems like they tacked it on and they didn't bother even like leaving a space in between for a pretend breath or anything. So maybe only this part is fake. I don't know. Oh, also something about like the fakeness detector things. If stuff around a certain part it reads as fake, the stuff next to it will also skew, like it weighs things according to what's next to it as well. So if a single it takes a single recording and it's like, okay, these parts read fake and then these parts don't, and then these in between I'm not sure, but if things next to them are fake, it will be like, oh well, that must also be fake. I'm not sure exactly how the algorithm works, but anyway, you'll see when I put that video out. But it is interesting that all of this, I think, if I remember correctly, reads as fake. But anyway, there's many reasons for this that are possible. That he could have actually said it, but then for it sounding consistent, maybe they had to do like a fake voice for all of it together somehow. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. I can only guess at this point because they won't release it. So, So apparently there was a smaller private meeting with Charlie where the subject was raised again, and that there was no mention of the version that you present. I knew Charlie Kirk well, and I know Candace well. This point of truth matters. It will affect Turning Point going forward and conservative politics more broadly. It can affect the presidency and future presidencies. The logical and rational thing to do is simply to release the raw video footage publicly, with any donors who do not wish to be seen blacked out, and if truly necessary, their voices altered if they are keen to retain privacy. Yes, thank you, obviously. Like, this is such an obvious thing that I don't understand why it even has to be brought up by other people. Like, this is a, oh, duh moment. Like, what? Yes, of course. Obviously, right? Why does this even have to be said? You have stated that the Turning Point cameras were rolling, as have others. No one would be more pleased to see that what you are saying is true than Candace, ourselves, and all those who love Charlie and his family. It would give thousands of people great relief. No one wanted or wants to believe that untruths or half-truths could or would be told on such a subject, or that the deceptions that have been suggested may have occurred. Certainly not us. Several people who have been donors, including the individuals with whom I spoke this afternoon, whom we personally introduced to Charlie as TP donors, are now saying that because of this and other inconsistencies in what has been said, they will no longer participate in political donations across the conservative spectrum. They are that frustrated by it. These are usually calm, reasoned people. This was reiterated again today when we spoke. Such are the consequences of mishandling communications with donors. They do not like it. Wow. Damn, okay. So it seems like Erika and TPUSA currently are such liars, pants on fires, that there's the donor situation is going to affect not only their organization, but political donations across the conservative spectrum. So not only are they being hurt by it donations-wise, but so are other conservatives. That is... ouch. I guess that's not really surprising. I mean, why would you donate to somewhere where, like, you're gonna be used as a pawn and lied about, potentially, if something is convenient for the organization, they're just gonna lie about you and the stuff that you experience. Like, yeah, I mean, I kind of get that. I'm not applying what you have written in your article as either true or false. I'm not suggesting that anyone is being untruthful, but the idea that the article you wrote will somehow put all this to bed is naive beyond expectation. Whoever is making this dog's dinner of Turning Point's PR should be fired. Or I bet that's like a British saying or something. Our personal purpose in all this is solely the preservation of Charlie's legacy and to help blah 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 blah. Have advised our good friends Pisa that honest open communication works best with Candace. Even when she is in full truth-seeking mode, I would continue to suggest to all parties concerned that this is the best and probably the only workable approach. Yeah, duh. Like, really? Obviously. I do not know how we place ourselves in a position where we can be of assistance, blah, 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 blah. It is now 43 days since Candace's first public request for the film to be made available. What on earth does anyone have to lose by airing it? That is a great question. That is a very good question. Alright, I wasn't looking for this when I first looked at Twitter, but I keep finding little gems. Where is... Okay, is this the... There was the letter... was person noted the weird side letter changes. Okay, so there was this email. This is about the email, but that's not the original email. Not that she's gonna show the original email. It's she apparently typed it up herself because, well, here I'll show you because, not because, I'll show you the why first. So apparently there was an email that she received from some like White House thing about the Erika Kirk thing that we just saw, where she was like, I want to go home, and she was all like crying and shit apparently, which I'm sure I don't think I've ever seen her cry and believed her that she was really crying. So no, I don't. But it kind of, it's got that like, oh my God. Anyway, about that, there was an email that Candace received from several people apparently, and it read some interesting stuff that we're gonna read right after this. But the reason that we're not gonna see the actual email is because apparently there are hidden messages in the emails that are basically a slightly different version is sent to different people. That way, if it gets leaked, they know who leaked it. If I donate, will you use me as a pawn? I mean, donations are always appreciated. It does help support the show. But I don't think I will be using the donors as pawns. It would be nice to have like the kind of large donors that TPUSA has, but also it seems kind of like a big responsibility. So I shall accept donations under $10,000. I know I am no danger of getting anything bigger than that, but anyway, there shall be no pawn using in the show. Even if that's something that is desired for whatever reason, that is not something we do here. We do not offer that service of using people as pawns. Anyway, so this email apparently is a thing, and apparently it's also a thing that they put secret messages in it by slightly spelling things different or spacing things different or something. And that's how they can tell who leaked it, which is why instead of screenshotting the email, she like retyped it herself. Yeah, see how this, yeah, the D does look different. Compare the D and the two looked instances to see a bottom instance has slightly thicker strokes. Yeah, that is true. This one's a little off. The reason Candace has typed the email, this is correct. We received more than one person's email and noted the weird slight letter changes and immediately recognized what it was about. Completely semi story, confirmed the White House and is in a panic about it this morning. The military office and White House pushed the Erika Kirk clip. So that's what the email is about. Let me pull up the email itself that she retyped. As we reported on our show yesterday, approximately 1 hour following the White House correspondence dinner shooting, the White House military office sent an email directing the amplification of Erika Kirk's "I want to go home" video clip. Unfortunately, the email was sent to the wrong internal groups. They then attempted to have IT revoke the email. When that failed, they ordered every person to destroy the email. I have manually retyped the relevant portion. Of the email that they wanted destroyed. As explained, is because they would print the email with different tactics that we just looked at, with the different like types of fonts and weird spacing difference, etc. Small differences to catch the leakers. So the question now is, why did the military so quickly prioritize making Erika Kirk the face of that White House correspondence dinner situation? Is that normal emergency protocol, or was this unnaturally pre-planned? And why can't everyone see this? Why are they blinded? I don't know. I really am noticing that more and more people, like, every time Erika opens her lying dirty mouth, every time she opens her mouth, I think more and more people are starting to sort of wake up to all the lies in the situation. So she's sort of doing her work for us in a way by being so untrustworthy and weird and frankly creepy sometimes. So she's she's kind of doing that for us. I think eventually there will be very, very, very few people left who even pretend to believe her. So I do think that day will come eventually. You can only buy people off for I don't want to say for so long, because some people can be bought off for like their entire life, but you can only buy off so many people, and that only works so long before people realize that like a certain group of people or certain people that you're buying off are not trustworthy. Like the whole Dan Bongino thing. Dan Bongino went into his position at the FBI as somebody who was out there, like his image anyway, like his image in the eyes of the public was like, okay, this guy, he's gonna get in there, he's gonna help release the files, he's gonna get to the bottom of things, we're gonna see all those PDFs in jail, and that's not what happened. And for a while, people were like, okay, well, we trust this guy on this. He was going on about this for years. He really wants to get this done. There's just, for whatever reason, it's not happening fast enough, but we just need to give him some time. And then every time him and Cash Patel, them both, the same situation. Every time both him and Cash came out and started being like, oh, well, there's nothing to it. I saw the file and there's nothing to it. He offed himself in jail. It was that's it. The official narrative. That's the correct one. Every time they came out and said stuff like that, more and more people lost trust in both of them. And eventually they had none left. Eventually there was no trust left. None whatsoever. And now you can basically tell by anybody who is supporting either Cash Patel or Dempongino, Vagina. I had to do it, I'm sorry. Anytime, like anyone who you see still supporting those people, you can tell like, okay, well, these people are obviously being paid, or they are so like undiscerning that what they say doesn't even matter at all. So and like he even went back to podcasting after that, and it became so obvious so quickly that whatever trust he had, he spent it all. He threw it away and now it's gone. And I think something similar is happening with Erika and TPUSA. They started with a ton of trust and a ton of sympathy, and they have been spending it, and they have been spending beyond their budget. Their budget of sympathy is like so low, it's almost gone, and they keep spending it. They can't stop spending it. Their trust spending habits are completely outrageous for how much they have left. What's funny is I played speed chess while listening to your show, Pawns Can Become Queens. Oh, no way. That's so cool. And, yeah, pawns can become queens in chess. Apparently, that wasn't always the case. In medieval times, the pawns could not become queens, and queens wasn't even a piece. Apparently, it was some other thing. But there was no like magic thing you could do with the pawns getting to the other end. Like they stayed pawns the entire time. Something interesting about chess I learned from a random video clip. I hope it's true. All right. So this email. Addendum, Erika Kirk video clip. So this came from the White House military office, which is apparently a thing. I did not know that was a thing until, well, the day I first saw this. Video clip of Erika Kirk leaving the ballroom area and stating, "I just want to go home," is driving the highest engagement of all incident-related content across platforms. Oh, how nice. The current digital assessment is strongest emotional response asset associated with incident. Okay. High cross-ideological circulate. What is it? What is like the emotional dash response cross dash ideological? It seems like it's making those words like a thing. So that's an interesting choice of. Oh, I don't know if it's called punctuation. Whatever it is, it's interesting the way that they're phrasing it too. High cross ideological circulation. I wonder if they looked at the stats and they were like, wow, this clip is so popular across the board. But I wonder if they were tracking that the reason that it was popular across the board was people like making fun of her and being like, why is she there? Like, look at Erika, why is she even there? I don't know if they counted that as their like really they got the good stats and cross ideological circulation. Look, even the left and the right and everybody, they're all sharing this video, but they probably weren't counting that most people were like, hey, what is she doing there? I didn't even know she would be going to such a thing. She's everywhere you turn, there's Erika. Elevated repost velocity among political commentary accounts. increasing use as symbolic framing device regarding media conduct and national stability narratives. Recommendation: all communications channels should amplify this clip, coordinate with our digital partners and approved surrogates to elevate reach and ensure dominant placement in the overnight information environment. The fact that this is something that the White House military office, that I just learned exists, is even doing at all for any clip is deeply troubling for me personally. But the fact that it's specifically this clip and the Erika situation is even weirder. Like, even if this wasn't about Erika specifically, just on its own, pretend this is like any other clip. This, like, assessment and recommendation, super weird. Since when is the White House military office running, like, propaganda on social media for us? Like, as a person who sort of always assumed this was the case for everything, I sort of always assumed this was the case for everything, but I figured it would be like the feds or CIA or whatever other national security like organizations that we don't even know exist, all the secret ones. But for it to be like in the White House itself is weird to me, and I never thought I would see it spelled out like this. It's so simple. I figured it would. I guess they were trying to hide it because they tried to take it back and, like, unsend it somehow, and that didn't work, but still, like, I never thought I would see it so plain like this, like, right there. It's weird. It's icky. This is super icky and uncomfortable that this is even happening at all. Most viral engagement presently centered around attendee reaction clip now circulating broadly across platforms. External commentary. Expected aligned outside commentators to independently amplify professionalism of protective response. Media conduct during evacuation. Political rhetoric. Escalation concerns. Broader executive stability themes. What's with all the dashes? It's weird. Anyway. Now you know every time you see stuff on Twitter that supports Erika Kirk or does the whole, like, oh, Trump needs the ballroom, build the ballroom. Anyone you see saying build the ballroom on X is probably one of these approved surrogates or aligned outside commentators. probably these approved surrogates, the ones that are being like super direct with it. Yeah, this is super icky. But it's interesting that everywhere you turn, politically speaking, and with like the Trump, and then JD Vance goes on tour with her and is always like speaking on stage with her and stuff, and she's constantly name dropping JD Vance and his wife, how they're all buddies. And Donald Trump is like knows who she is and is like treating her like somebody that he knows and probably trusts. I'm not sure, but this thing is like, I guess with Trump running the, well, not running, I don't know if he's doing much running. I think with Trump being in the White House and the White House military office, whatever that is now, is more aligned with Erika Kirk, and how Trump has called in favors for Erika Kirk before, allegedly, with that letter that they sent a while back from, or not sent, what was it, the IRS or something? They put out a letter saying, we are not investigating TPUSA. And it was like there was indicators of it coming from the White House, and they just like reposted it with those indicators too. So if I donate, I become a pawn, then a queen. No. Yes, but no. You get a thank you, and you get to support the show. But you there is no you don't become a pawn then a queen. That is not something that is offered. Not the ballroom again. Oh my god, Ricknell. I shouldn't have said anything. I was afraid this would happen. The secret agent, the whole what was that program called? With the what was it called? Anyway, it triggered something, and now he's gonna keep saying the ballroom thing again. I broke Ricknell. Hello, allegedly, maybe, perhaps. Candace Owens' family. Daphne Mullins. Blyden. Got 1 million. Yeah, sure. Okay. That's... Sure. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anything else on this topic. I feel like that covered pretty much all of the article related stuff. And I am still working on the longer video. I'm gonna try to record the my speaking parts after this. Hopefully I have the energy. And then I'll be working on editing it for the next few days probably, but it's getting close to the end. The research has taken up most of the time. And now that it's more or less finalized, I think it's gonna go a lot faster. Anyway, so the other thing I had today was, as I was kind of saying this in the intro when I first started, but just since we got deep into this Erika thing, as a quick recap, you wake him up programming in oh no, he's broken. Long live Erika. They worked personally for him over the years. I don't know what names those are. I apologize, but I don't know where that's coming from. But if you have some like evidence of that, feel free to send it to me on X. Like, don't your programs get the meaning of divided? I'm not sure what you mean, but welcome, I guess. All right. So anyway, as I was working on the script for the longer video, I had something on in the background, and it was this, and I kind of was more focused on editing the script and stuff for most of this portion, but something happened around this time here, and that made me look up, and I was like, oh no, he's crashing out. So I tried watching the beginning of it, but I couldn't. It was the same thing. So last time that we reacted to one of those Eli Nick's debates, it was basically this is basically like that, but worse. Like, he's just throwing out random words that he doesn't seem to comprehend himself. But in this case, he's not even pretending to like come up with them on the fly. He's literally like very obviously reading it. And every time he gets asked a question, instead of like recalling and answering organically, he goes back to his notes and he will like read out an answer from the notes, usually just like repeating himself over and over. So this was super cringe right away. And that's kind of what I saw in the first few minutes of this. Like, I don't know how much I want to play with it, but so since it was going like that, I sort of focused more on the script, and I was like, okay, well, this is a nothing burger. It's gonna be exactly the same, not even worth covering. But then I noticed the crash out. But anyway, this is how the beginning went.
See, gotcha. Well, thank you both of y'all for the intros here. After the introduction, bear with me for a second.
Blocks of thoughts crucial to psychological processes as categorization, inference, memory, learning, and decision-making. This much is relatively uncontroversial, end quote. To be fair, it goes on to say that the nature of concepts, what they really are, is subject to much debate, which is why I'm glad we are having that debate today. Lastly, grounding, as in reference to premise 2, is defined by the SCP as, quote, a form of constitutive explanation or determination, end quote. In other words, it is a relation of dependence in which something exists in virtue of something else more fundamental. My argument for premise 1 would be the same argument I would use to refute nominalism, which is a philosophical position that rejects the existence of universals while appealing to seemingly...
I don't want to sit here the whole time, but it goes on like this. Like, he reads this whole thing, which it's not unusual for people to read an opening statement. Like, that's fine. But then he keeps doing it even after the opening. Like, it...
instantiate our particular concepts through the act of creating something, taking material and instantiating it around the concept such that the concept can be engaged with and recognized by another individual. This is pointing to...
This is... Yeah, it goes on like that. It's basically... Like, not... I don't know if that's the point, but I think, like, in the beginning when I first saw... I don't know exactly where it was. Again, I was kind of watching this in the background, but I noticed at some point whoever this is, he asked Eli a question, and he was like, well, I just covered it in my opening. But his opening is like a unintelligible blob of him just like reading off words that like are sound all big and important, but he doesn't even understand himself because he can't even explain it in plain English. So apparently that he kept asking him to do that or something, and eventually we get to somewhere around here. Let me see if I can find the timestamp. I voted Trump 3 times, but he's betrayed us. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I never voted for any candidate besides a libertarian candidate, but I did like support Trump until he got elected and started the second time and started doing all that crap. But when like during the Biden and Kamala era, I kept like defending him all the time. And people are like, "Well, Trump said this," and Trump said, I'm like, "No, he didn't really say that. He said this," and like all of those times, I wasted time defending him. Is super awkward now that he started all this war, and it's just awful all over the place. And yeah, I didn't vote for him, but I definitely wasted a bunch of time trying to defend this or that or whatever against other people. Is the scarf hiding the nose ring? No, I don't have a nose ring. Typical hoe, ashamed of nothing, offended by everything. Thank you for your input. That is MonkeyBoy. He's pretty sharp. I haven't seen him before, but I'm glad he was asking Eli for like a plain English version of whatever he was saying, because Eli was literally just like reading, and every answer he was trying to go back to his thing and just like read the prepared stuff. And it's also very clear that he didn't write that himself. So I don't know. It's super cringe. But eventually there is a crash out, and apparently there might be another crash out. I looked into it a little bit further afterwards, and I don't remember exactly where. I have to look at would have voted for him as well if I was in the assemblies, because they said he was a racist, which there was no proof of. Then Erika, now Candace, all media heroes will mislead. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like at least the all media heroes will mislead. That seems on point. Let me check the timestamps. About 10 minutes. Okay, so we already kind of saw this part.
By Merriam-Webster as, quote, being formed in the mind, end quote, we can conclude from the impossibility of the contrary that only a mind can ground concepts, and only a mind that shares the rest of the ontological features of the universals I've argued for could ground such concepts. That is specifically an immaterial, universal, and invariant mind. If this is not enough for the atheist nominalist, and they are still determined to believe that universals are grounded only in human minds, consider this final point. If one accepts that there was a universe and a world before human minds ever existed, best shot, and if it doesn't work, we can try again, right? We can keep trying if you want, but I mean,
maybe we should try getting more strictly a clear series of premises. Maybe that would help.
Okay.
So premise 1 is,
let me give it my best shot, and if it doesn't work, we can try again, right? Premise 1 would be concepts can be recognized to be grounded in a mind through through multiple particulars which instantiate them.
Grounded in a mind through
Right. That's premise
multiple
one.
particulars and instantiate them.
Yeah. Can you repeat it back to me? I already forgot precisely how I worded it. Let me make sure. Did you write it down?
Concepts can be recognized to be grounded in a mind.
He already forgot how he worded it. Well, maybe if you didn't artificially try to sound extra smart by using words that nobody really commonly uses, and that you clearly yourself don't commonly use, if you can't even remember, like this is not something that seems to come naturally. If you just used plain English, maybe you would be able to remember what you just said. Like, are you for real? BSUS, hello. Welcome back. Nice to see you. The internet is a zombie. If you can read the post on my page. The internet zombie is actually kind of interesting because there's so many bots and it's so obvious too. Like half of the comments I see are so obviously like ChatGPT output, and it's pretty disturbing. And I don't know how many more are basically like either too short or some like some other type of AI or something.
Mind through the multiple particulars that they instantiate or instantiates them.
Right. And then premise two, it can be recognized and known that these concepts are not grounded in the mind that observes them. Okay. And then premise three, these concepts present themselves immaterially. Premise four would be external reality. Oh, let me restart. Premise four, I think we're on. External reality instantiates immateriality across multiple particulars. And maybe like a side note, in the same way as premise one. But we haven't figured out their concepts yet. But then you go to premise five and you go, this
is kind of what I call, I don't see this tactic often, but when I do, it's always cringe. This is, I don't know if I don't call it anything, but this is what we could call like debating via obfuscation. Okay, I'm doing it now. No, but this is like he's purposely trying to obfuscate the point with like all this extra jargon to make it seem more profound than it really is, and he can't even keep track of what he's already said. Like he has to ask the other guy to read it back to him, and like when he reads it and he has it ahead of time with whatever wrote that for him, he's fine. He can just read it, but he can't repeat it back the same way, and it doesn't even seem to follow, and you have to sit there and like, this is not commonly used English words, so you have to sit there and think extra hard, like how each one, and like process each one individually, and when you do, it doesn't even really follow. Oh, it's pretty funny at the end. Eli says something about how he has no idea if his argument was valid, but it should be judged on soundness, as you can have a sound but invalid argument. This is what precept does to Brain's Phantom. Yeah, so this whole situation is very confusing because it's like, if you really believe in what you're saying, you should be able to say it in plain English. Like, if you really understand the concept and you really believe in it, you should be able to say it in a way that everybody understands. You should be able to say it to like a 5-year-old and explain it in a way that a 5-year-old kind of gets what you mean, more or less. And if that's not something you can do, you don't understand your own point. So he has no idea if he's argument. Yeah, how can you not know if your own argument is valid? This is definitely interesting. I thought this would be kind of a nothing burger, but this is definitely an interesting one in like a not good way. All right, let me skip forward a little bit because I don't want to do this all night. I just have a few timestamps that I found. Okay, around this point somewhere is the one where I first noticed it. And I was like, okay, this is worth paying attention to. Somewhere around here.
I can dive into this. Let me modify premise 1 to say,
Oh, let's pause over here.
Valid, then there's tenets of inductive reasoning
sure,
with scope of sampling and representativity.
sure.
And then once you give a sound argument where the conclusion is it meets those things, then it just bottoms
Right.
out there.
But are you
It's
totally
very
incapable
theoretical.
with engaging with the
Eli,
argument?
would it help if I provided a quick example of a real easy to understand sound argument?
I understand what it means on a rudimentary level to analyze premises and conclusions to find out if they're valid. If you want to, go ahead. It's not lost on me.
I'll just provide a quick example. So premise 1, all mammals are animals. Premise 2, all dogs are mammals. Conclusion, therefore all dogs are animals, right?
Okay, what's your argument for premise 1?
Well, I'm not here to debate. I just
okay, yeah, it's kind of hard to do on the spot, right?
So mammals are defined as animals. Dogs are defined as mammals because dogs are defined as mammals, and mammals are animals. All dogs are animals, right? That's it. But I was just providing a quick example to maybe help clarify.
Right. I'm just curious.
Right? I'm not trying to jump in and debate. I'm just
that's fine. That's
providing
fine.
some assistance, right?
That's fine. I just don't see how we can get anywhere if you can't actually engage with the just natural language free flow form of what typically.
Why does he keep asking the moderator to debate? It seems like the moderator was just trying to help like explain what oh shit, no, I forgot the name of it. What the premise steps are called. So I keep forgetting the word. Now it's me doing it. So when you have like the premises and then what follows from that. It's one of the terms that freaking Wilson uses a lot too. Oh, I forgot what the word is. Anyway, it seems like he was explaining what that was and how to use it, and which is like super helpful, I think. And instead of simply being like, "Oh, cool, thanks. That explains that." So now I can sort of follow the same pattern. Instead of that, he's like trying to now debate with the moderator about the animals thing. Is that what's happening here? I'm confused. Is that what's going on?
Goes into an Oxford style debate. I've watched many of them historically and in modern day,
like
and most people are not just strictly laying out premises and conclusions, especially ones on the spot that they didn't come with, especially also when I know that the prompt is talking about validity and soundness, so I brought one and then we can talk about it. But again, I'm not sure where it says that I have to then make the same, because
Syllogism, sorry, I forgot about it.
I spent a lot of time making sure that I brought an argument that I believe to be sound.
I don't know if that's what they were talking about here was syllogisms, but that's what he the moderator that was an example of one. I don't know, I couldn't think of the word earlier.
Understand what it means on a rudimentary level to analyze premises and conclusions and find out if they're valid. If you want to, go ahead. It's not lost on me.
I'll just provide a quick example.
So,
sure.
like, here, it seems like that's
let's talk
what the trouble was.
Rules, an argument in a different way.
Anyway, let me move on.
Again, you do ultimately analyze what's being said, the premises, but what I'm saying is that you can analyze premises. Do you agree that you can analyze premises without formally like going P1 here and then stage 2 argument P1 P2, that you could actually
all those chitters always use hyperbole and word salad to confuse you into believing them. Works whenever someone starts using endless words to explain, you can assume you're being bullshitted. That's an interesting way of saying that. I've never heard the chitted version of that before. That's interesting. I like that. I wonder if Eli knows how embarrassing the prompt "Can Eli make a sound argument" is. You know, I haven't even thought about that. That is a great point. I don't know if oh yeah, the video is kind of like small now. Usually I make it big. I just want to make sure you could see the title and everything. But yeah, that is, and I just realized I'm like over the other guy's face. I keep forgetting to move myself. I apologize. Let's do something like this. That should be better. I gotta remember to look at that every time I switch to something else. Vertical. I think that was when I was talking about the syllogism. Look how he tried to match his shirt color to his hat color. He's look smack same the way. See where it's all is a 12 there. All right. Let's see here.
In natural conversation, analyze the premises that are being made via natural language, and
I mean, I guess it
analyze
also
validity and
matters
soundness.
All right.
how
But
you
again,
sort of
it's not
formalize
like
them. Because
right.
I haven't written anything
30.
symbolic. You can still say premise one. That I consider that still natural language. Just asking for the premises isn't asking for a formal argument.
Well, I know, but like, here's the thing: is that whenever I'm
That's what I've been doing.
putting the premise, I know, but whenever I'm putting the premises, you know, because again, on the spot, I'm putting in premises and conclusions here. I would need more time to make sure that this stage 2, or maybe we're at stage 3 or 4. Again, I'm not sure how many stages you have to go through until you reach validity and soundness. Maybe you could tell me that. You can answer that question for me. But I mean, I'm not prepared to give an infinite amount of premises, conclusions, staged arguments. I argue like all kinds of other Oxford-style debates, utilizing natural language. You're the one that's saying, well, we need.
I don't see how it's not natural language to be like, this is the case, and this is the case, therefore this is the case. Maybe like the word syllogism itself might be a bit unusual as far as like day-to-day English. People don't usually say that. But if he knows all of this other vocab that he read from whatever he was reading it off of in the intro, and then kept reading off of for every answer that I saw, if he knows all of those words, he should know whatever syllogisms are and how to properly do one and all of that. Like the syllogism is probably like on the lower end of fancy words related to like debating metaphysics. So that's kind of a big tell that he comes in here, he does word salad, and then when he's asked to explain, and I presume at some point somebody asks him to put it in the form of a syllogism, and in form of like premise, conclusion. Even the format of it being premise, conclusion seems like, oh, that's too fancy for him now. When he was the one that started the whole obfuscation via vocab thing, like, what is going on? This is so cringe. Tommy says, hello. Taco syllogism was pretty normal language. Yeah. Yeah, the way he explained it too, like it was pretty straightforward. So if he calls himself MonkeyBoy, that's fine. Well, as long as it's not related to that sort of thing, I think it could just be like a funny name. I mean, there could be names that are, maybe he just really likes monkeys. Like there are names, like usernames. There's probably a username for like Snail Boy out there for somebody that really likes snails. I don't know why it has to be related to anything else.
Need to do it in this way. When I'm saying, if you're a trained logician, you ought to be able to also do this yourself and say, okay, give your argument again. I'll write the premises. We can see if you agree or conclude.
It might even have something to do with if he's running in the debating related crowds, especially related to like religion and things like that. It might be related to evolution, honestly, because a lot of times the debates about evolution come down to like, oh, I not related to a monkey or whatever, and things like that. So I wonder if it's a play on that sort of topic. Snail Boy. I know, just for some reason I thought of the only animal I could think of at the time was a snail, and it was the first thing that came to mind. I don't ask me why.
But what you've done is you've made me do it. You've given me that burden as if I'm a logician who's capable of doing that, and then saying, well, wait a minute, this is invalid, so do you want to try again? It's like, well, wait a minute, I'm giving an argument in a different way.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to understand what makes this argument valid. Is there maybe
so do you have the
couple inference rules?
So we're going back to the beginning. It was a Modus Ponens argument. So how about we start with the actual argument that I present? Yeah, again, are we going to do infinite regress of
Modus Ponens. If A, then B. A is true, so B is true. Why does he have to call it that? So he complains about syllogism, but he comes out with a modus ponens, which is like basic if-then statement. He calls a basic if-then statement a modus ponens, but he is complaining about a syllogism, and not even like specifically calling it that. It just like just using one in general. This is okay. This is something.
The conclusion is supported by the truth of the premises.
Well, I don't accept that the argument's valid. I'm asking you to
But
show me
you agree that what makes it valid is if the truth of the conclusion is supported by the truth of the premises.
Yeah, the truth of the premises entailed the conclusion, and the argument's valid. But I'm asking you to show to me that the truth of the premises entails the conclusion.
Right. Okay. So again, I just don't. The truth of the premise one being, and maybe I mean, again, I just don't. It's never a prerequisite in any Oxford style debate that both opponents get out a pen and paper and start writing things down so that things can be rigidly semantically analyzed. I mean, I don't know if somebody like you who is a debater watches debates. I don't know if you think that everybody but you is doing it wrong, but we can just
what is going on?
Talk about things and engage in a conversation that is a debate. You're wanting to get into and again, I've given a modus ponens, which you agree is valid. When I'm giving the argument,
he means if-then statement. How can you be having a crash out about somebody else trying to be more formal or something, which they're not even, while you come out here throwing out modus ponens for an if-then statement?
It would probably be more helpful if I could reduce it from 6 premises to a modus ponens. But guess what? I have no obligation to do that if that's the only way that you're able to get validity out of something. You ought to be able to engage with what I'm saying and find a validity. We're getting nowhere. Perhaps I haven't this doesn't. You not being able to engage in the standard Oxford style debate methodology doesn't make my argument sound. But me not being able to engage in your preferred method of debate doesn't make my argument not sound.
For a second, I think both of y'all not looking at this simultaneously might be part of the issue, because it seems like you may not be catching a MonkeyBoy's critique. So maybe we try typing this out. So what was the premise one, just so that MonkeyBoy can
this is
look at this with you at the same time? I think this might help clarify this.
Yeah.
Premise one.
Go ahead.
Premise one is concepts can be recognized, to be grounded in a mind through multiple particulars that instantiates them.
Spell that right? All right. And what's premise 2?
Premise 2 is it could be recognized and known they're not grounded in the mind.
Is that concepts are not grounded in the mind?
Universal.
Universals.
No. Wait. No. So now this is good because we're getting somewhere here. So one, concepts can be recognized to be grounded in a mind through multiple particulars that instantiates them. Perhaps I should clarify this first one, because what I'm saying is that particular human concepts, particular concepts grounded in human minds. That's what we should change with premise 1. So now that we're here, I can dive into this. Let me modify premise 1 to say particular concepts grounded. Particular concepts. Well, maybe hold up on the grounding thing. Again, I just want to point out to the whole audience, this is so fundamentally stupid to come to a debate and get to the point where we have to do a logic course with Professor MonkeyBoy instead of just engaging with the content. I mean, if every debate went like this, the whole debate sphere, nobody would do it.
Wow, I wonder what else is something like that, where somebody comes in and starts reading off the longest word in the dictionary in a row, and then the hypocrisy is honestly staggering. Snail Boy would make people remember you because that's a really weird name. That's true. Modus ponens is a standard form of deductive argument. The other is modus tollens. Well, Phantom, not everybody can be as smart as you, okay? Some of us are just plain old English speaker people that don't study philosophy or anything else that is logic related besides straight up programming, and even that I didn't study it. I just kind of do it. I have a big problem, honestly, with not being able to describe in academic language a lot of things that I actually do, or even sometimes in software development related terms. A lot of times I know how to do things and I go and do them, but if somebody asks me how I do it, I will probably use stupid plain English terms that aren't the proper terms for it. Not all the time. I mean, that's changed as I spent more and more years doing what I do, but it's, especially when I first started out, it was a problem, since I'm self-taught, so I didn't go to school and learn oh, this is a blah blah blah. I'm just oh, this is the thing that does the thing. And that's kind of how I go, but it works. So he has rimless glasses. That's different because today it seems really popular to wear thick dark frame glasses. He's trying to be different and go against the trend. He is a rebel. Oh, the rimless glasses thing. I do remember the rimless glasses used to be a thing. I used to have some when I was younger. The 10 Commandments of logic have been basically agreed upon for a few thousand years. I don't know about the 10 Commandments of logic. I've unfortunately heard about the 3 laws of logic, apparently, that all of these people keep bringing up over and over for whatever reason, instead of just discussing things and being like, hey, this is logical. But I haven't heard of the 10 Commandments of logic. That is new to me. I learn something new every day. I'm the same way with programming. It's terrible for interviews. Yeah, it's fortunately, it seems like it's a common enough thing that if interviewers are tech-minded, they understand. It's a blah blah blah. The thing does the thing is def the technical terms. That is true. All right, let's see if
it would just be left to
I
the
feel like I
decision.
do a really good job at keeping debaters on
fine.
topic usually.
No, it's fine. But
and I just want
when's
to
the
point
last time
out
that
this
this
is the
happened?
argument title. So it's
well, yeah, but we're not
literally
even engaging. We're not even engaging with
Or the
that
title?
necessarily. Again, we're not even engaging with the Monens Ponens that I initially brought up. I'm
I
now
can put it
needing-
on the screen. What is the Modus Ponens?
Well, we're just going to get back here because he's going to demand that a computer screen be brought up and that the moderator type out
Well, can you just answer the question?
propositions. And
No,
that
nobody's
I have-
demanding it. I'm offering it because I think there might be a
Oh.
little bit of disconnect between y'all two, and I want to make sure y'all
Yeah,
are both the same page in the debate. I'm trying to be totally neutral here. Just put
That's
the words
fine,
on the
that's fine.
screen so you can
This is so
analyze them
ridiculous.
together. I don't want to
This
have
is-
any opinions on this. I'm just trying to put them on the screen and
Okay.
also point out the debate topic.
Right. So again, none of this has anything to do with whether or not my original argument is valid and sound. But let's go with premise 1. Let me do my best, and I hope we have a lot of time because I'm just going to take my time because this is what needs to happen, I guess. Particular concepts are instantiated across multiple material particulars. Forgive me. Yep. Okay. Then premise 2.
What?
It can be known that these are particular concepts grounded in a human mind. What? Damn it! See, this is tricky because let's start over. Erase the whole thing. I'll get this eventually. Again,
Okay.
It's like I said. I hope everybody's got time.
It's like he gets
me
stuck on
not
the
being
word
able to do this on the spot.
particulars. He's like, okay, there's something about particulars. If I just say particulars enough in different configurations, I'll get to it. Oh man. Oh, I definitely disagree with P1. This is. I don't even know where this is
Has
going.
zero bearing on whether or not the argument I originally presented is sound or not. So this is ridiculous. But it has none. I could
That's
be
obviously
dyslexic.
not true.
Well, if you can't explain the argument you originally presented, like sure, there could be an argument out there that somebody else wrote, but if he this isn't a thing where like MonkeyBoy is here to debate with ChatGPT. Like that's a different show. This is like a MonkeyBoy debates with Eli on whatever this topic is, and you have to be able to explain what it is you're trying to say. Like you can't just read out a paper and be like, well, I don't have to explain it or reword it because I've already read it, and if you don't get it, that's your problem. Sorry, what? This is painful.
It absolutely is true because I could be.
He gets lost in his own hyperbole. How embarrassing. This is quite embarrassing. Honestly, I get like secondhand embarrassment from this.
Dyslexic and not be able to type any of these things out. We have him doing it for me. What I'm saying is that I presented an argument. Now, whenever you ask for the arguments back, if I could choose to not engage with this at all and say, I'm not doing it this way. I'm going to give you strictly natural language. Like I said, 2 guys debating at a bar who aren't fucking pulling out a pen and paper and writing this down.
Why didn't you start with that? Why didn't you just start with strictly natural language if you have trouble with the way you presented it? Like,
and then you go, look, he can't even, he's not prepared to write out premises and conclusions for every premise of the argument or the premises of this argument. Again, I'm not sure where the infinite regress stops. Yeah, it shows that I don't know as much as you about how to do formal logic. But what it doesn't show is the original Monus Ponens not being sound. It just doesn't. You have not presented one counter argument, not one. You're just asking me questions that are in a higher logical order, and my inability to answer those questions has nothing to do with the soundness of the original Monus Ponens. I just want you to know that. Zero. This is a tactic that you do because it wrecks the shitty pre-suppers because they don't know as much about the subject matter than you. But they could be stumped on every academic level question you have. Has nothing to do with the soundness of the original argument. That has to be demonstrated by you that it is not indeed sound. It is indeed not sound.
Wait, what? No, you have to present an argument that is sound, and you have to show how it is sound. It's what do you mean the other person has to show you how it's not sound? What? Is this for real? Does Eli know what his argument is? It doesn't seem like it. I don't think he does, because he keeps referring to it as, oh, that thing, that like the original argument, the one, the one thing I said earlier. He's like he can't even name it. Like he can't even name what it is. He can't even like summarize it in plain English that he seems so concerned about suddenly. Like, how can you come in here with complete like spaghetti words, read it out like once, maybe multiple times, come back and like repeatedly read from the same thing as your answers to things, and then when asked to explain it, you're like, oh yeah, well, that thing that I've already read and I've read it once, so yeah, that thing is the one that's like, why don't you answer that thing from back then? Like he can't even like recall it, what the general gist of it was. Like this is so awkward. Uno reverse burden of proof. He just used them to select the card. Oh, no way.
Just pointing that out to everybody. But like I said, I've got all day, so we can do
that. Works.
Okay, can you defend that?
You have to motivate an argument yourself. So
With
if the claim is that you have a sound argument, which means the premises are true and valid, I could just ask you to show me the argument's valid. I don't need to do anything.
Right. So is Modus Ponens valid?
Yeah, Modus Ponens is valid.
Okay, so the argument's valid. Okay, so now let's go to the
stage one argument.
Wait, no, but two. Oh, okay, but wait a minute. Then wouldn't we need a stage 3 and a stage 4? I mean, again, when did the stages end?
When it's enough to form the conclusion. What do you mean?
So when we have ample reasons to believe them.
But who decides that? You?
Who decides when we're justified?
Why is he repeating as if that's like a gotcha, as if like the other person being so baffled by this conversation even existing because of how baffling it is somehow like a gotcha. Like, does he think this guy saying is that means that Eli is like winning somehow here? Because that's not what's going on.
Fine. When they meet the types of epistemic norms, presumably you and I share.
Well, okay.
I mean, I don't really want to have.
I'm asking you.
All right, so for clarification, Eli, this is your argument, right?
Well, except I switched P2 and P1, but sure. But again, I'm just curious how many stages you have to go through. Yeah, we're talking about the stage argument. In fact, I have no obligation to give it.
Let's clarify this. So this is the format of the argument. So now present the argument.
Okay. Wait. So are we going back to the original argument? Because again,
your main argument is your very initial argument.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. So P1. I have it right here. I can pull it up. Let's make sure I read off.
He's gonna have to read it again. Are you kidding me? You're kidding.
This correctly.
If it's so complicated that you have to read it and you're not able to put it in plain English, you don't know what you're talking about. That is what we can deduce here.
All right. Premise 1: immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist.
He's just reading, isn't he?
Immaterial, what?
Universal,
invariant concepts
exist. Premise 2: immaterial, universal, invariant concepts.
Hang on. I'm terrible at typing on this.
You're fine.
Immaterial, universal, invariant concepts. What?
Immaterial, universal, invariant concepts must necessarily be grounded in an immaterial, universal, invariant mind.
Can he prove that?
And then what's the conclusion?
An immaterial, universal, invariant mind exists.
All right, and for clarification, this argument on the screen is your argument.
Correct.
All right. I'm going to be quiet.
All right.
So are we not just going over the same argument, the sixth premise argument you already gave for the first premise, or what?
Again, let's just trash that. And it's, honestly, let's just start from the very beginning here. Okay, here's the Modus Ponens. Can you evaluate the validity and
What do you mean the Modus Ponens? Because this is the syllogism. But okay, whatever.
soundness of a Modus Ponens without asking for how many stages do you plan to ask me for?
That's not how that works.
It's just a question. I don't know if you're or how
There's
many
no number of stages I'm planning to ask for.
Well, you're planning to ask for at least a stage 2. Will you be asking for a stage 3?
Potentially
Potentially a stage 4?
Still disagree with P1. That immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist. I don't know what he means by invariant, just like unchanging, because everything changes always. I think he used similar language in that but the last and only debate that I also reviewed that he was in. I think he used similar language, and at the time, I think I said something similar, like if invariant just means things that change, and then everything changes eventually. Like there isn't anything that never changes. So I don't know. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but that's my primary issue with it.
Yeah.
5.
Around 5, it's pretty dubious whether there's going to be.
I think this whole enterprise is quickly becoming dubious. But
and also the fact that they even exist in common terms, and you can say things exist, but if you specifically in this context exist might be kind of tough to explain. Like if it's not like, I don't really understand what he means by it, because if it's not material, like things like love, like okay, but I don't know if that's like unchanging. I don't really understand what he's trying to say, honestly. Like I don't know what a universal concept is, but it sounds suspect. Yeah, it's from what I presume, just based on the word, it's like something that is true for everywhere. That's just kind of how it
let's
reads.
just come here. So you have the Modus Ponens. All right, what's your critique?
But for a guy that kept complaining about things not being in layman's terms in plain English, this is not layman's terms. This is word salad still. Like I don't understand why he can't just plain English this. These are word salad chefs. It's a good one.
Critique of the Modus Ponens.
I'm asking for the argument for the first premise.
Okay. I got it right here. My argument for premise 1 would be the same argument I would use to refute nominalism, which is a philosophical position that rejects the existence of universals as described previously. Nominalism is an ultimately self-defeating position. This is because a nominalist rejects the reality of universals while appealing to seemingly universal concepts like similarity and patterns that are not identical to the particular material instances that are being compared. If what the nominalist is appealing to in order to categorize what is real or actual is not itself real or actual,
so he's reading again. This is not helpful. He's reading the word salad, and that's supposed to explain something.
The categorization and pattern recognition itself becomes ultimately arbitrary.
Yeah, we gotta, regiment those into premises. Also,
you can do it. I have no obligation to do that. You can do it. If you're the skilled logician, you should be able to do so.
What? Are you kidding?
No, you gotta present a valid argument.
I did. Now you have to tell me why it's invalid.
All right. So based off of where y'all are at.
Also, real quick, I forgot to mention that conceptualism is just a form of nominalism, but.
No, again, I'm like you're pigeonholing me into a.
All right, point of moderation. We are running low on time. About 12 and a half minutes remaining. If y'all in the audience are loving the show, please consider supporting with a tip. I'm trying to help them get through this, and then we'll get to the questions. There are some questions as well. But all right, so based off where y'all are at, MonkeyBoy is asking for an argument with the conclusion immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist, which is the premise 1. So he wants an argument that ends with that conclusion. Is that correct, MonkeyBoy?
So immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist. Right.
All right. Gotcha. So he's asking for the argument for that.
Also, that's just to clarify. By that, he just means universals are concepts. That's why he.
The secondary definition, the colloquial philosophical definition of universals. I'm making the argument that definition is synonymous with immaterial, universal, invariant concepts. So again, that definition would be repeatable, abstract entities that can be instantiated by multiple different particulars, grounding genuine similarity and predication. I think ultimately, yeah. Wait,
repeatable abstract entities that can be repeated.
Right. Wait, hold on. But why are we changing premise one? I'm like, here's the thing. I'm just saying that this definition is synonymous with immaterial, universal, invariant concepts. I can make an argument for why that is the case, but that doesn't change the structure of my original modus ponens. So this is separate. This would be a separate argument.
All right. So you said modus ponens, and then this is the argument you presented. Then MonkeyBoy asked for an argument for P1. So right, P1 is immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist, and so that's going to be the conclusion of the argument. Right.
Immaterial, universal, invariant.
So you'll want your premises leading up to that. So that.
Okay, gotcha. So wait a minute. Now I'm wanting to do. We're doing this premises thing. I gave the argument using natural language. Now, if that was invalid, the argument I just gave, then MonkeyBoy has to tell me if he's going to make the positive claim that was invalid. Then he's got to show me how that this is invalid.
I agree, but I don't need to make that claim. I can just ask you to show it's valid, because that is your burden to render a valid argument. When asked,
sure, but let me.
How is this argument valid? You should be able to explicate.
Right. Okay. So I'll explicate that.
Sense.
Let me think carefully. So
we haven't even gotten the argument yet.
I know. Well, I mean, again, I gave the argument. Now, what's in question is its validity. You're asking me, is it valid? And I'm saying yes, because
we're talking about the stage 2 argument.
The stage 2 argument for premise 1. Right. Okay.
What are the premises supposed to be?
Okay. So, right. And you, so let me give it my best shot, and then we will. So the conclusion will be immaterial, universal, invariant concepts exist. Gotcha. Well, first premise 1 would be, I mean, the validity. So let me ask you one more time. The validity is coming from the truth of the conclusion is motivated by the truth of the premises, right? That's where.
I wonder if he's going to get there.
If it were valid, that's why it would be valid. It's one reason why it would be valid. Yeah. Okay. So nominalism is a self-defeating position. That's again. Let me ask you this, MonkeyBoy.
Apparently, nominalism is a view that universals aren't real, only specific things are. Like redness is just a label, not a thing. And so universals are things like redness, like general features shared across things. Redness, triangleness. The philosophical question is whether they're real or just labels. And so nominalism would be saying that they're not real. Only specific things are, and these are like properties, not items themselves. But I thought what he was saying earlier was the opposite of that. That immaterial, universal, invariant, whatever, all of that. He was saying that those things do exist. But here he's saying that nominalism... Okay, so it's the opposite. So nominalism is a self-defeating... What? That doesn't make sense. This on its own, I would like I would like a syllogism for this being the conclusion. The nominalism is a self-defeating position.
If somebody gives an argument,
so he's saying that somehow to think that these like redness and things like that, to think that those things aren't real, that they're like properties of things that are out there, that these things don't actually exist, that thought, people that think like that, they are self-defeating. So that position in itself is somehow self-defeating. I would love an explanation as to why that would be self-defeating. I'm not sure we're gonna get that. His argument for P1 is that nominalism is just obviously false. I guess so. I think that's what he said in plain language. He said he used natural language, so he normally uses unnatural language. That is a weak start for a P1. Nominalism denies universals. If nominalism denies... Okay, so nominalism says universals don't exist. He says universals do exist. And not only universals, but also unchanging, immaterial universals. But isn't immaterial universals redundant? Oh, I forgot the word for it. I'm not great right now with words. It's late. But that seems redundant. If a universal is already something that's not material, like it's a feature, why would you say an immaterial universal if it wasn't like only to add word salad to it? I don't understand that.
Argument that isn't structured in this way. And they show what would be, okay. Again, I don't know what a person is supposed to do in a debate. Like how many stages? Well, no, I know, but whenever they come to a debate, how many stages should, if I was to do better next time, let's put it that way, exactly how many stages should I have come prepared with in order to? Yeah, I know, but like you said, it's basically infinite until it's justified. And I asked you who determines what justifies it, and you said it was ultimately what?
I said we share epistemic standards. There's epistemic norms in the background for which one.
No, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know that that's even true. So like maybe we could talk about that first to see if we actually share the same epistemic standards, because that would be important for finding validity, right? Because ultimately validity is appealing to inference rules, which are appealing to
validity has nothing to do with epistemology.
Wait, validity has nothing to do. Do you know what's valid and what's not?
What it means for something to be valid has nothing to do with epistemology.
Well, I asked you a question. Do you know what's valid and what's not?
Yeah, that's an epistemic question. We're just talking about rendering a valid argument.
Well, okay, wait. But if you have knowledge of validity within a system, right? Is it just the system that makes an argument valid?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the system. Okay, and which system ought we use to determine validity?
That's just a loaded question.
It's loaded, but you're the one claiming that we use a system to determine validity, and now I'm being forced in this interaction to use a system presumably you've chosen. Why ought we use that system?
I'm not saying we ought to use any system.
Oh, so a person could find validity using any system.
Yeah, there's various logics you could use. Just using classical logic, which is the vanilla.
Is there a limited number or a finite number?
Of existing logics, there's roughly a dozen.
Okay, could there possibly be more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what makes those dozen legitimate?
What does it mean for it to be legitimate?
Oh, they're not legitimate?
I don't know what it means to say logics are legitimate.
Okay, so they just are. What? So what I'm asking is, can I come up with a logic system right now that
now? Okay, so he's gone from word salad to trying the whole thing where he just asks questions, which is like the Jim Bob Wilson tactic. Like, if you can't defend your own view, you just ask infinite questions of the opponent and hope eventually they'll trip up somewhere. But I don't know if he's going to even be able to catch the other person tripping up if he can't even explain his own position in plain words.
That just says my argument is sound?
I doubt so. I mean, it's possible.
Why couldn't I? Why couldn't I just say that according to my axioms as an Orthodox Christian, my argument's sound? What's wrong with that?
I don't really understand what you're asking.
Because we're using.
You can invent a logic. I don't expect you to create a logic on the spot.
Well, I mean, what goes into creating a logic?
A lot of stuff like truth functionality, inference relations, syntax.
But all those things would be affirmed by the system itself. So it's kind of, self-referential.
Define the system.
Well, I know, but like whenever these people, supposedly you're arguing
you
that
can just use whatever logic you want.
Okay, I use my system that says my argument is sound and I win the debate. Unless you can tell me why we ought use this one to determine soundness of validity.
Logic.
Yeah, my logic is based off of the.
What? Okay, I'm falling asleep. I'm gonna fall asleep with this. Let me skip to. Where should we skip to? Let's try. Because I have a feeling this is gonna go in circles for a while like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Kirk. Really appreciate it.
So Eli,
mm-hmm.
Obviously, when it comes to soundness,
mm-hmm.
You seem to be wanting.
Oh look, it's stuck.
I'm a bit confused about how you approached this whole topic. To be honest, obviously the prompt, which was soundness, seems, although I'm happy to take it colloquially, but it does seem to refer to some kind of formal logic, right? And then you seem to accept that was the case when you brought a formal syllogism, a logical syllogism, your initial one being P1, P2, followed by C1.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes to justifying the propositions, the soundness specifically of the propositions, not the validity of the argument, because your initial argument, the validity, it is valid.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to demonstrating the soundness of the arguments, you seem to want to step away from the formal justification into a colloquial justification. That's a bit Mott and Bailey-ish, is it not?
Well, no, hold on. Like, what is? I don't either. Something's justified or it's not. If my language that I use is more colloquial and natural, in order to do so, like this is what needs to happen. I need to present. I agree. I took the prompt. I present a formal syllogism. Okay. Then I have to make arguments for the premises, which I did. I made an argument for the first and for the second. Now, what I didn't do is rigidly formalize my arguments for the premises, because ultimately, by admission, not being a super skilled logician, I put effort into, designing and making my Modus Ponens, and then I'm more skilled in using natural language to flesh out why those are true. But what I'm pointing out is that my arguments supporting the premises are still arguments, even if they're informal.
Yeah,
I'm missing. What I'm trying to figure out is why I need to be logically, formally rigid, not logically, but formally rigid all the way down, when I can just utilize natural language in order to support my premises. And when my opponent says, well, I refuse to engage unless you do this on the spot, I think that that's not exactly prudent to actually determining the original formal argument's soundness. It's more like, I want to demonstrate that Eli doesn't know a lot about logic, which I just admit that I don't. But even if you ask me, like, what makes the argument valid, let's say I could answer any way, and that actually, unless it's demonstrated.
So he admitted he doesn't know a lot about logic. Then why is he coming out here with the word solid and trying to act like he does know about logic?
That it's invalid.
But you're acting like we don't have
the original argument.
Eli, you're also slightly acting like we don't have postdoctoral math researchers and stuff in the audience sometimes. Like, and so to say that you don't need to formalize it is, and it's not hand waving. Like, I could take it either way, but I do see I see
have no burden to.
Question
I have no burden to formalize it.
The problem is, like, the debate prompt would indicate that you don't necessarily have a burden to formalize it. I will grant you that. It would have been helpful. It would have been helpful if that could have been.
Well, what did I not do that I was supposed to do?
So, for example, the initial part of your the second premise, actually, I mean, I will just grant the first premise. For the sake of argument. Where I take issue is actually with P2, the second premise, which is an immaterial invariant concept must necessarily be grounded in a universal immaterial invariant mind. Right?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be the case.
Right?
Okay, easy. So hang
on. So,
okay, go ahead.
The reason that I have an issue with this is we tend, whilst a logical syllogism is a deductive argument, we can and often do use inductive reasoning to try and determine whether a premise is either true or false. So, for example, a valid and sound argument would be all humans are mortal, Socrates is mortal, Socrates is human, therefore Socrates is mortal, right? But the only way we have of interrogating an argument.
Okay, what's your argument for premise? Wait, you just made that argument. What's your argument for premise one? No, I want to demonstrate my contention. What's your argument for premise one of that argument?
So premise.
Okay. Let's see. Where is it? I thought it was somewhere around here. I was wrong. Oh, that's not even close. Oh no, it should have been close.
This one would be the all humans are mortal. And that's
what's your argument for that?
So the argument for that would be that we've never encountered an immortal person.
Okay, that's premise one. That's premise one. So now what's the stage two second premise?
So premise two is that Socrates is a human.
No, you're just restating the first one. I'm talking about. So let's go through.
No. Premise one, all humans
I'm writing it down. Okay, yeah. So let's go back to the original argument. Premise one.
P1, all humans are mortal.
Okay, P1, all humans are mortal.
P2.
Okay. Eli, do you accept premise one as like true?
Well, no, I got to figure out if the argument is valid first, so we can't talk about that right now. That's what MonkeyBoy said to me.
Yeah, so P2,
I asked MonkeyBoy.
Wait, that's the opposite. If it's, he's gonna. If it's valid first, isn't it the other way around? Like.
The same question and he hand waved it. So, Kirk, please don't interrupt. I'm doing what MonkeyBoy.
This is critical. You said.
Oh, then you're disagreeing with MonkeyBoy.
No, you earlier said you cannot even make a valid argument for the Spirit proceeding from the Father and the Son.
That's the Filioque way. That's
right. You're saying you can't even formulate that in a valid form.
No, I don't want to, Kurt. Please, I'm having a conversation. Please be respectful.
No, I don't think you understand the difference between validity and soundness here.
Of course I do. A valid form means that the conclusion will follow. Okay,
so
yes, you could. Oh, you got me, Kirk. Clip it, dude. You got me. Okay,
can I
please talk to John now?
Form a valid argument for that. Thank you.
Yes. Not a sound.
What?
Not a sound. I misspoke. Thanks, Kurt. I appreciate it from the peanut gallery. So peanut.
Okay, so he was wrong.
The peanut one. Premise one. All humans are mortal. What's premise two? Socrates is a human.
Socrates is a human.
Okay,
and then the conclusion is Socrates is mortal.
Okay. Socrates is mortal. Okay. What is your stage two argument for premise one?
The stage two argument for premise one would be that we've never witnessed an immortal human. All humans die if observed for long enough.
We have never witnessed.
It's an inductive argument.
A mortal human.
Well, it's an inductive observation to demonstrate for a sufficient justification for premise one.
Okay, and then what is the next premise for the stage two argument for premise one?
So why does there need to be another stage after?
Oh, so it's just because we've never witnessed a mortal human, that means that all humans are mortal. That doesn't follow.
Well, no, but it's sufficient. It's sufficient to justify the premise.
It's sufficient to just. Okay, wait. So
yeah,
you're
so
saying that it's sufficient. Okay, so what's P1?
We can look at
what's P1 for? What's the first? So you just made the argument that it's sufficient to justify the premise. So what's your the first premise for that argument?
So the first premise, what argument?
So wait,
he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Eli, are you claiming that you doubt that all humans are mortal? Is that the point?
We're not playing Russian
No,
dolls.
I'm just trying to figure out the validity of his argument. So I need an argument for his stage 2
Eli-
premise 1, but there's no
Eli-
conclusion. Wait, there's no conclusion. So how is that an argument? It's just you're just stating a
Eli,
premise.
Eli, no, it's whether we
You're
have
supposed to give an argument for. You're supposed
Eli.
to give a stage 2 argument. What does an argument include? Conclusions?
Eli, do we have sufficient justification for the premise? That's the only thing we need to ask us.
This is painful, honestly. Like, I don't even. Does this ever get anywhere? I feel like it's however long it was going on. It seems like that entire time it was just spinning in circles. If you can't articulate your argument, then you don't have an argument and it can't be sound. Modus tollens. I bet he's fun at parties. Yeah, that's super fun. Probably about as fun as we imagine.
Look, I was just asking you to make a stage 2 argument for premise 1, and you didn't even have a conclusion. So what's your stage 2 argument for premise 1
No,
again?
the point is, what are you disputing about the fact of premise 1? Do you think
What's
that
so
premise
funny?
1 is
What's so funny
factually
is you
true or
guys getting
not?
irritated. Is that I'm demonstrating the shit that MonkeyBoy does. I don't actually feel this
What?
way. I'm doing a mockery of the
it's
way he
actually,
debates.
I think
So he admits that he's not even doing a real argument. This is like pretend, so he can mock the other person that was arguing with him earlier. What?
I think it's a live question whether you accept premise 1 or not. So
So he can't answer why he's saying the things he's saying, and his only out is, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I was making fun of you." Huh?
I asked MonkeyBoy the same question, and he said he couldn't go there yet. He had to figure out the validity of the argument before.
Right, but everybody agrees that the form
so you disagree with MonkeyBoy. So you disagree with MonkeyBoy.
Eli, everyone agrees that everybody who studied logic agrees all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. Is a valid form. Everyone who studies logic agrees with that.
Okay,
so
that's a positive claim. Wait. That's a positive claim. I need an argument for that. What's P1 for everybody agrees? What's the argument?
What do you mean? That's
I don't.
I guess
logic.
I guess your
that's
argument's not
axiomatic. No, that's an axiomatic thing that once you're going to agree to the rules of this system, that's like contained within the rules of the system.
It's a
tautology. It's absolutely correct that it's a tautology and it's arbitrary. If you want to agree with that, if you want to agree with that, I think it's great. Welcome to nominalism, brother.
Kurt's getting loud.
Welcome to nominalism.
What a shock. What a shock. What a shock. Kurt's getting loud.
Well,
so,
it's nominalism / conceptualism because you do seem to use them interchangeably, Eli, which is
that's
fine because they are basically the same thing.
I need P1 for that argument.
But my query here is: do you think that the all humans are mortal premise?
I don't disagree. I was being a dick. I was being a dick, dude. I was mocking my.
Okay, fine. You were being a dick. Is he just like refusing to answer for anything now? Because this seems like a new question, and he's still going on about how he was being a dick. Okay, this is an interesting one, and by interesting, I mean I'm falling asleep. Sounds like a magic game in Cadence, the circle jerk. His just argumentum ad I'm taking my ball and going home. I don't know if he's taking his ball and going home, because it seems like that would probably be better. Like, if for him it would look better if he took his ball and went home, because it seems like he's not taking his ball and going home. He's got his ball, but instead of like throwing it as part of the game, he's like hitting himself in the head with it or something. Like, that's the only analogy I can think of.
I get it, but what
I don't have any intentions with your fucking Socrates argument.
But what I'm getting at here is that there is a distinction between what MonkeyBoy was doing when he was asking for clarification on your P1, which is immaterial, invariant, universal concept.
Yeah, here's the difference: is I need to give an argument for P1, right? I fucking did.
Or sufficient justification for it.
Yeah, I gave that argument. Normally,
he keeps saying, "Oh, I already did it." When all he did was read off his whatever he was reading off of, but he never explained it. Every time he was asked to explain, he just read it again and again. Like, you can't keep reading the thing and then keep saying, "Oh, well, I already gave you that," over and over, and calling it that argument and that one that I read and the original argument, and like he can't even name what the argument was. He's just saying, oh well, that abstract argument over there, it's like some sort of thing that I did earlier. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it was something, and it was like so cool, you guys. It was so cool. You should have heard it.
Normally, what people do is they engage with the content of the argument instead of leaning on rigid formality in order to make some kind of point that doesn't actually get you to disproving the original argument. I think that it's pedantic tactics in order to embarrass and confuse your opponent. That's what I'm demonstrating.
I mean, you're going to have to...
1 second. Just 1 second.
Yeah, sorry.
Eli, do you then agree that all men are mortal?
Yes.
Oh, well then you're
Interesting.
not even a Christian.
Damn.
What?
Well, Elijah goes up to heaven, he never dies. And Jesus goes up to heaven and he dies, but he comes back to life. So even if you accept Jesus as having died, Elijah never dies. So you can't accept that all men are mortal.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, again, I think
Christians cannot accept Socrates.
You're equivocating, Kurt, like you do all the time.
No, I'm not equivocating.
How is that what? How is that equivocating? He got. I don't know. This is almost sad to watch now. This is special. What were you saying earlier about how this goes towards the end? I don't recall. I don't see. Oh, Eli says something on how he has no idea if his argument was. Oh, but it should be judged on this. Is this? I wonder if that we already were past that or not. But oh, it keeps going. Oh no, he's still there for a while. I'm surprised, honestly. Like, if I was Eli and I was making a fool of myself in this awful way, I would have quit like right here. Right around here. But no, it keeps going for quite a while. This is bad.
Equivocating at all. Are you saying the Bible is wrong?
Oh, I'm not sola scriptura.
Is the Bible wrong?
Yeah, you're equivocating. I could demonstrate why, but you're just going to keep shouting and having a boomer spasm, and I just don't feel like dealing with it right now.
Damn. Okay, getting aggressive here. So I could explain, but I'm not gonna. I could give you the argument, but I'm not gonna. I already did it once, and I since I already read it to you, I'm not gonna do it again. I could explain this and that, but I don't have to. That's on you. If you don't get it, that's on you. That's your fault. You have to be the one. All the burdens are on everybody else. Okay.
So
how is it equivocating? Elijah never died.
Because, dude, when we talk about the eternality of the soul and the finitude of the body-soul relation, that's the equal. So men in the temporal world are mortal in the sense that we will die. Our souls are ultimately eternal. So it's not an either or, it's a both and. You have to make a distinction between what we're talking about here.
Are you saying Enoch actually died at some point in the gospel, like in the Bible story? Because Enoch never dies in the Bible story either.
Well, some saints are taken straight up to heaven and their bodies are deified. I mean, I'm still trying to find the contradiction.
So your position is that all men are not mortal. You agree that all men are not mortal, not all men die.
Fair. Oh, you know what? Maybe you're right, Kurt. Once again, you've got me. You should clip it and start an Eli Nick's wrecked clip channel. Yeah, because Christ was not a mere man, but he was a man, and he died. So I mean, when we talk about Elijah and even the Theotokos, yeah, it's an interesting subject. But ultimately, there's the death. When we say death, die, is a soul separating from the body. You're right. There's an instance. There's an instance.
Enoch, Elijah, and Mary had all of that happen.
Well, no. For Elijah taken up into heaven, we don't know if his soul separated from his body or not. I could say maybe not. Then I guess you could say that not all men are mortal. Then fine, but I'm still wondering where the contradiction is.
What?
I don't think it's a contradiction. I just think it's very hard for a Christian to accept the laws of logic, because if you ground the laws of logic in God, there are no laws. He breaks all the fucking rules all the time.
God is not bound by rules. He's the rule maker.
So he doesn't ground them if he doesn't instantiate.
They're grounded in his nature. We've had this conversation like 100,000 times.
Yeah, but I still don't.
I thought it was invariant.
Get how your position is like in any way.
That's an argument from incredulity. So,
I mean, all you do is make a word game whenever you get nailed.
Well, that's all you say every time you get nailed. So that's not an argument.
Yep.
I haven't seen anybody else get nailed in this conversation except for Eli. Now, to be fair, I did skip a bit of it, but it seems like the parts that we skipped were pretty repetitive, so I really doubt that there was anybody else getting nailed at any point with how the rest of it is going. So, to be absolutely fair, it's technically possible that at some point somebody else got nailed besides Eli, but practically speaking, no. I didn't watch the panel part. That was during his closing statement. P1, all men are mortal. P2, except the ones that aren't. Therefore, my worldview is not contradictory. Makes sense. About as much sense as everything else he said, so.
Hi, Eli. It's me, Shiva. I'm not going to stay long. I just, it seemed to me that there's maybe a misunderstanding going on, because baked into soundness is validity, and
correct.
So
I agree with that.
So it's I've never met MonkeyBoy, so, but and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like almost like he was kind of asking you to demonstrate how the argument was valid, such as you could break it down like if P then Q, P therefore Q, right? Because Q necessarily follows. From,
here's
from
the problem. I can do that with the initial
so,
Modus Ponens, but then whenever there's stage 2 for the first premises, as somebody who is a layman to logic, I don't know, like, if he's going to ask for the stage.
Layman to again, layman to logic, whatever that means. Don't say modus ponens. They say if then, if they even say, and if they even go as far as saying if then. That's, so you can't do both. You either are a layman to logic, again, whatever that means. I'm not even super clear on what that means, how you can possibly be a layman to logic, maybe like to the like logic related formal definitions or something, maybe not like logic itself, right? Because anyway,
stage 2 of that, I don't know what's stopping him from doing an infinite regress of continuing to ask for different stages of arguments, where I need to then, before the debate, formulate a seemingly infinite amount of formally valid arguments, when a person can utilize natural language and make a valid argument. And if somebody else is proclaiming to be a greater authority on logic via knowledge or being studious, I would argue that it's the burden of that person to analyze the arguments being made, whether it's formal or informal, and show me the invalidity.
So the problem
So what he did was, with your first argument, he said, yes, that's a valid modus ponens, right? And so then he started to test the soundness.
I think there's a distinction between particular and universal layout. You know what I mean? I'm not just talking lightness, but concepts in the mind of a mind that could indeed generate a world.
So why do we need the justification of this initial like immaterial mind that is?
Okay, I think this might be the closing statement. So let's.
All right, I'm ready.
Let's do the closing statement and then we'll call it a night, because it's spinning in circles still, and this is just embarrassing. I've had enough secondhand embarrassment for a night. So, if anybody does feel compelled to donate to support the show, now is the time to do it. And this is Eli's closing statements are going to be our closing statements. I think everybody. What am I doing? I feel like Eli right now. I think that it was a relatively fun night until the end there. This is getting kind of lame. But I don't know. I had a good time. It was nice to hang out again with everybody. God taking Enoch and Elijah straight to heaven without experiencing an earthly death does not change the fact. Sorry, it's late. That they were immortal by their nature. They would have died like everyone else without God. Eli dropped the ball on that one. Yeah. Thank you for your input. Welcome back.
I don't think I'll need an entire 8 minutes. Look, I would, with the Aristotle thing, I just want to make a point that, you know, I could be wrong about this. I never said, with the Aristotle thing, I just want to make a point that, you know, I could be wrong about this. I never said that his logic wasn't paraconsistent. I agreed with that. I was pointing out that the reasons why it was paraconsistent at that time versus the utilization of paraconsistent logic today, the modern paraconsistent logic we have is intentionally removing the principle of explosion in order to get to specific, to solve specific issues, namely things like paradoxes and such. I would think that classical logic is often more normative, but again, according to most atheists I talk to, there's no actual reason to use any system over the other. Yet it appears that in day-to-day life, we often utilize the classical laws and some semblance of the principle of explosion. But what I wanted to point out is regards to the prompt is that, again, I stated in my opening statement, you know, I'm a layman when it comes to logic. Now,
and the principle of explosion, is that what he said?
He can say that the logic wasn't sound. That wasn't demonstrated by my opponent at all. He asked for, I gave a valid Ponens, and I gave
classical logic rule that says if you allow one contradiction, you can prove literally anything. How can you claim to be a layman when it comes to logic and throughout all of these like logic related non-layman terms? You can't do both. You just can't. So you either use all this like vocab that most people don't know, or you're a layman to logic. You can't do both things and be honest about it.
Arguments throughout the entire debate supporting.
And that's the other thing. Like if you start out your debate or whatever this was, just doing like spamming word salad with all of these terms, other people who do really know what this is about, they're gonna have you explain what you're saying, and you should be able to. And if you can't, then don't start using these terms. This is like the same criticism I had for his other debate. Like, if you just did everything in plain English, I think he would get way further. But because of this, I don't know what this like need is to sound smarter and fancier, and then when you're called out and asked to actually use the words that you've been using, and explain them and like arrange them in a different way that makes sense. Like, if you can't do that, then don't start with that, because when it looks way worse when you start reading something and it sounds like you don't know what you're saying and you can't back it up in plain English, and then you keep referring it to back to it, oh well, that argument, the original argument, and keep expecting people to like understand that first argument you read from somewhere for you. It's not gonna, like, it just doesn't work. You can't be in the middle of it when you're getting called out repeatedly. You can't be like, oh well, I'm a layman with logic. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. If you switch things up, and after that first debate where I don't know if he watched the reaction, probably not, but if what he did, if when he kept getting similar results of people like trying to get him to explain things and him not succeeding that well, or maybe it worked well for other people, I don't know if like there were other opponents for which this like obfuscation tactic worked well for whatever reason, but if he just switched to using plain English, I don't think he would have so much trouble. I think if he just got his arguments clear in plain English and he understood them clearly, he would be able to defend them. But because he's getting wrapped up in all of this vocab, he's in the effort and attempt to confuse the opposition, he's confusing himself. He's wrapped himself up in it, and now he's stuck.
Why it's sound, and he refused to engage with those unless I formulated it into a rigid system. But the thing is, even if I said, look, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that, I'm not making a declarative statement that my secondary stage 2 argument is or isn't valid. I can only give it using natural language at this time because I didn't come prepared with multiple stages of propositional formal argumentation. So it would be more prudent and expeditious for you to evaluate the arguments that I'm giving via natural language. And if you're the skilled logician, one of the first, I took a very small intro to logic course on the web. It doesn't mean much, I know, but I wanted to learn more about it. One of the first lessons they teach you is that people are making arguments all the time, all throughout your day-to-day life. And you can actually take an informal argument, formulate it into premises, analyze if it's valid, and then analyze if it's sound. It doesn't turn on my initial Modus Ponens being sound or not. If he asked me if my stage 2 argument is valid, even even if I said, you know what, I'm not sure if it's valid. Can we engage with the content of what's being said here? And we debate back and forth about it. None of this demonstrates that the original Modus Ponens was not sound. So really, it was just a stalemate. And honestly, I'm not trying to be super offensive here, but I hope MonkeyBoy can consider, Oxford-style debates. It's a historic institution that really, solidified a moderator and two interlocutors. Are premises and conclusions in this formal sense utilized? Of course, but are they also not the entire substance of the debate? Regular normative means of communication is perfectly fine for assessing validity and
Okay, he's still crashing out. I don't know how long the crash out is gonna go, but this is so sad.
Soundness of an argument. If you want to utilize your skills as a logician to show me how it's invalid, absolutely go for it. If you're skilled enough to do so, do it. But putting the burden on me to follow your inference rules, or the inference rules that are being set forth here.
You try to put the burden on your opposition to explain your own argument. What are you talking about?
And then going, well, he doesn't have the capacity or the in-depth logical knowledge to do this. Oh, therefore I win. This is TikTok level gotcha stuff, which is, I think, what this debate ultimately did was
Your thing is TikTok level gotcha stuff. The projection is killing me.
Expose what he does, which is he's super knowledgeable, super smart guy. I'll never call him stupid, but I think it's kind of a bad faith tactic to reduce.
Oh, that's a bad faith. Okay.
Every single argument to this strict, rigid style, and not actually engaging with the content of what I said, because I think if he did do that, he'd get wrecked. So I think this was a great expose. And lastly, at the very end, we got an admission from him that all logical systems are completely made up and not based off anything in reality, which I think is totally ridiculous. I think throughout history and the ancient philosophers, when they are talking of any notion of the laws of logic, whether it's metaphysical, as an axiom that a system is built off of, to say that we just come up with this on the based off of nothing, they didn't observe external reality. Was it beamed into our head?
I think kind of what I'm sort of understanding what the problem is, because if what he expects to work is an if-then statement, but his if isn't valid on its own. Like, it's not self-explanatory. So in order for the if to really mean the then follows, he needs the syllogism part. So the syllogism part would, sorry, I gotta speak more clearly. So the syllogism part would mean adding that first premise. So instead of just an if and a then, you have premise, and then premise 2 would be like his if, and then the conclusion would be his then. So he needs something to support his if. Otherwise, the if and then doesn't connect in like a self-explanatory way. So he can claim if then that, but that doesn't, without that other premise, it's him basically claiming it without any backing. And maybe that's part of the issue here. At least, like, that's kind of the gist of what I'm gathering might be the problem. But again, this has been so confusing and all over the place and complete word salad that it's hard to even try to understand what the intended argument was supposed to be. I don't think MonkeyBoy said logic was based off of nothing. I didn't watch the whole debate, but I don't think I heard him say that either.
Is this just like fan fiction? What are we talking about here? I think that metaphysics, epistemology, logic are all interrelational, and it's all based off of an intelligible universe. Clearly, the universe is intelligible, or none of these things would be possible. And
oh, is he gonna read again?
Anybody's interested in actually getting into the meat and potatoes of the substance of the contents of my premises, or maybe you want to do a hybrid, like, hey, let me help you, let's establish this in a way, we could do it that way. But ultimately, I think that technical gotchas is all this fella has, and I think that was exposed today. But the soundness or unsoundness of my argument, we'll find out. I think it's sound. Thanks so much. That's it.
Yep. Thank you so much for that. Sorry about that. I just have a bunch of windows open.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That was a thing. It happened. We saw it. It was certainly an event where people were speaking and saying words of some sort. All right. Well, it is certainly late. Hopefully I have enough energy still to record that video today. If not, I'll have to do it in the morning, but I'm gonna try and get it done tonight if I can. That way I can just edit tomorrow. But I don't know. Thanks for hanging out and chatting, everybody. I always appreciate that. And I always appreciate everybody. Whether y'all donate or not. I'm so glad you're here. So I shall see you next time. And I don't know. Have a good night, everybody. I'll try to stream more often. I've been so busy with everything that I haven't found time, but hopefully now that I'm finishing up the editing for that other video, I should be able to find more time for it. So we'll try to hang out more often. All right. Bye, everybody.